the 4 most popular answers.
Okay.
So first, what do you think is happening? What do you think is at play?
What do I think is happening? I think there's the players, they seem comfortable. They seem like they have a plan. They seem like they're swinging at good pitches. And I wish I knew exactly what Edgar and Dan were whispering to these dudes.
Yeah.
Because I started
Yes,
looking
me
at
too.
just who they were last year compared to this year at this time, right? May 5th last year. Hits per game, they're around 7. They're around 8 this year. OPS this year, 759 by May 5th. Last year, 658. Run differential, they're plus 29 right now. Last year, this time they were 12. Their walk percentage is 11%. Last year, 9. Strikeouts, 21%. Last year, 28. Home runs per game, right? 3.8% at bats and 2.9. Just everything you want to go up is up and down is down. You know, like the strikeouts are down a bit, your walks are up a little bit. But no, it seems like they are just comfortable in the box, right? They're seeing pitches. And I wish I had more answers because I want to sit down with Edgar and Dan and say, what is your approach? Like, what did you take from last year when you got the job? Because this is what happens as a transition, right? At a smaller level, I coach high school football, and there was a time where I took over for a coach, and there were some things that he did where I was like, I'm keeping that. I like that stuff. There were other things and other ways of talking to their players and philosophies where I'm like, that is crazy. I'm getting rid of that right now. That's what I want to ask Dan. I'm like, Dan, Edgar, what did you keep? And what did you get rid of? Because I feel like that plays a big part into this, but it comes down to the players, man. They have to go out there and execute. So the guys seem like they're in a good place. And when you have guys like Cal hitting bombs, 2 bombs in a game, you have Julio. Big as Julio did not strike out one time this series, okay? Because of Julio, obviously Polanco and Crawford, they're just doing their thing. So it's execution at the end of the day, but the question is, how are you getting them to execute like this?
Okay, so similarly, my answer is on the one hand that individual players, in particular JP and obviously Jorge Polanco, 2 JPs, are having great months. I know Cal is leading the league in home runs, and he's part of that, but his strikeouts are roughly the same. I'll get into the individual stats. He's just slugging like heck. I think that it's hot streaks coming at great times for 3 important players. It's a down American League. I don't think it's a bad quality of opponent. They have faced, I think, something like the 4th or 5th most teams above 500 of American League teams or something like that. I need to find the exact stat, but it's not like, oh, they're out here playing trash teams, Rockies, White Sox. They can't get it together. No, they're playing solid teams, but overall, the American League is just down.
Yeah.
You aren't playing quite the same Houston team, quite the same Rangers team. I mean, they just fired their hitting coach. And I also think that they are overall a little healthier and that Edgar does have an impact. That's my own theory. However, let's get to the most popular answers from listeners. 1, this was by far the most popular answer, playing complete baseball. And what I think people meant by that is twofold. On the one hand, the pitching is not as great as it was, elite as it was last year. You've had some injuries, obviously, 2 notable names missing from your starting rotation, but it's not plummeted, which means you're still solid there, and now the offense is stepping up. So I think there are some people that meant literally complementary between your lineup and your rotation. But I think there are also people that thought, what I mean by complete baseball is like team ball. You're getting a runner on, then that runner's stealing a base. Then you're making the right decision with a pinch hitter. Then maybe you get a sac fly or you move the runner over. Then you get some key RBI single. And I think a lot of people said that specifically because of that big 9th inning when you had Rowdy Tellez with an RBI.
The stretch and the 1-2 pitch. Swinging a line drive into right center field for a base hit. Here comes Polanco on to score. Rowdy Tellez with a pinch hit RBI single. And the Mariners have the lead. 2-1 here in the top half of the 9th inning. Wanted at bat by Tellez with 2 strikes. He gets a pitch middle away and lines it into right center field. Polanco scoring easily, and the Mariners have the lead 2-1 here in the 9th. How about that?
Williamson also had out there, but that like a 4-3 moved a runner over. So I think that inning you saw almost every AB did something to move a runner over and finally score. And I think it was score Polanco. I can't fully remember. No, he was pinch hitting. Anyways, and I think that impacted a lot of these answers because we all saw what felt like a very complete complementary effort.
And it looks like they're just not trying to do too much.
Yeah.
The home runs are going to come, right? The barrel rates that this team has so far, especially with your leaders in Cal and Polanco or whatnot, you make solid contact, good things are going to happen. But it seems like they just didn't do too much, especially this series. 6 for 16 in the first game when it comes to runner scoring position. 2 for 9 in the second game. 1 for 3 in the third game. 9 for 28 overall. 321 batting average. That's something that we're just not used to seeing. So just moving the runners over, getting on base, moving them over. And when you combine the way they are aggressive on the bases too, man, when it comes to stealing bases, it makes for a natural kind of small ball, right?
Yeah.
Because it felt like last year we were trying to force it on them. You got to play small ball. When it's like, look, if you just swing at the pitch you're supposed to swing at, move the runners over naturally, you're aggressive when it comes to stealing bases, these things are going to happen, bound to happen. And then you combine all the other things you said about the division being down. You're taking advantage of a situation and taking advantage of good play by, one, a guy that we didn't expect to have this type of year in Polanco. And then Cal just being Cal, even though his average is low, but he's not here for that. He's here to be behind the plate and to hit bombs. And that's exactly what he's been doing. So it seems like more of a natural type of small ball. And I think this last series was the best example of that. 4 extra base hits in the first game, something we don't normally see. You got 3 in the second game, none in that third game. But it's just being consistent with your approach, squaring the ball up, put it in play, and good things are going to happen.
Second most popular answer, coaching. So I combined a couple different answers into this one. When someone was like, if anyone said, oh, it's Wilson, Edgar, those were obviously times I counted it as coaching. But anytime someone said something like, oh, they're kind of playing free, or implying that there was like a culture thing, that things were simplified, that the environment, the vibes were right, anything that counted towards environment, culture, tone, I also counted as coaching. Coaching. Here's my question. I have Edgar as part of my own answer because I had a conversation with someone within the Mariners organization that was crediting Edgar with like really doing some great work with one individual player that had seen some improvements with his ABs. So I was like, okay, this is clearly a coaching impact, and I'm counting Edgar as part of this. I'm having a hard time placing Dan. I'm having a hard time figuring out what to credit Dan with. And that doesn't mean I'm not crediting him with anything, but I'm trying to figure out, like, what are the things he's individually responsible for?
Well, when you look at managers, head coaches, the great ones are master delegators. They hire the right people to get the message out that they want. And obviously the hire that we focus on the most is Edgar Martinez because of just the production that we're seeing, right? He's the guy. That's Edgar. One thing that I saw on the text lines that I think really hits, and I think this person is absolutely right, 360. I don't know they're right. I think they're right, especially when it comes to Edgar, because the conversations I've had with people with the Mariners, they don't describe Edgar as a guy who's going to pull out all these charts and say, well, your bat speed here, this, that, and the third. He's more of a feel type of player. So 360 says less analytics. And I kind of like that because in baseball, you can just get racked with all this information and what you should be doing and here's and there and arm angle and velocity and all this good stuff, right, which can benefit a lot of players, but some players are just straight feel. Like, this is what you should be feeling when you're in the box. This is what you should feel when you're in your zone. That's kind of where I lean to Edgar and say, all right, man, he's more of a feel type of player, less analytics. So when it comes to Dan, it's delegating, right? You delegate your responsibilities, you hire the right people, and you make sure that when you're in front of the team or you do have to make your decisions, your pitching decisions, when to pinch hit, right? How to be aggressive on the base pass, because E. Young is a guy conducting all that, but he's got to have the green light from Dan, right? Edgar is the guy talking to the batters or whatnot, but I guarantee you him and Dan are having conversations about how we're going to approach this player and get him back into his zone and get him feeling the right things. So, yeah, that's where I think it's all Dan end of the day, right? Because when Service was here and this team were in one of their valleys, when they're struggling, we point the finger at Service, right? And it's like we're reluctant to praise these guys sometimes. So even though Dan might not have his hands directly on some certain things, he's delegating. He's getting help from upstairs because obviously data is a lot, and Hollander and Dipoto and the rest of the data crew up there is going to help him out. But delegating, I think Dan's done a good job of delegating, and just his demeanor, because sometimes the demeanor and vibe of your head coach, it rubs off on you. It definitely rubs off on you. And guys can be tight. It doesn't seem like guys are tight. It seems like they're having fun and just playing some good ball.
Another answer I wanted to throw in, this was your boy Paul Moyer, who said, They're 17-5 over these 8 series wins, and they've only allowed 4+ runs 7 times. He said last year we'd probably lose 6 of those games. In this current 8-game series streak, we're 4-3. Our other 2 losses are 3-1 and 2-1 in extras. So he added, we've got 5 games we've scored only 3 or fewer runs, and we went 2-3. That's huge because last year they were 15-62. Almost half our games we scored under 3 runs or fewer.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I took that from Paul is that even a modest improvement in offense, when it's like averaging maybe an extra run, can lead to a drastic improvement in your win-loss total.
Yeah.
And that's important because it's what we kept saying last year is if you could just be okay and just do enough. And how many wins did, Kirby go out and give you a great start, maybe 3 hits, 2 runs or whatever, and it was a loss. And you couldn't get enough done.
Yeah, you're winning.
You're doing just enough.
You're doing enough to get by. And here's the thing. You're doing enough to get by, and then you know that there's potential for explosive games. I mean, we've seen 14-0. We've seen 13-1. We've seen, 6 or 7 runs scored as well. So it's something that you said last week that's going to stick is that you're winning in multiple ways, right? You can handle the close losses, and you can also blow some teams out because you're explosive as well. And at the same time, the pitching is slowly starting to turn around. I mean, we saw Castillo with a quality start. He went 6 innings, set down 2, gave up, 1 run. And then Brash comes in. Nice to see Brash back on the mound doing his thing. And then you go to Wu. Wu gives you a quality start. I was looking at his numbers yesterday. His velocity is up. His ERA is down. His K rate is up. Like, everything's trending in the right direction with Wu, and you're going to need that. But it was also nice to see Castillo out there and put together a good outing as well.
Last one was most common answer was just a combination of or one of an important player. So some people were like, hey, they're where they are because Jorge Polanco is on fire, because Cal can't stop hitting home runs, so they were looking at individual players. So I looked at 3 players in particular that I thought were having the biggest swings or making the biggest impact. Polanco, Cal, JP. Polanco is pretty much better in every single stat from April last year to this year. Last year, he was slashing 170, 314, 290 with 4 home runs, 10 RBI, no extra base hits in April. This year, 384, 418, 808, 9 home runs, 25 RBI, 4 extra base hits. I mean, it's not
stupid.
It's not even close. Cal and JP told interesting stories. Cal in April 2024 was striking out roughly the same as he is now. He had 35 strikeouts last year, 36 this April. The average was roughly the same, 227 last April, 233 this year. But slugging is up, and importantly, extra base hits, stolen bases, and walks are up for Cal. So again, you got 4 additional homers. You had 6 doubles, and then he has more walks and 4 stolen bases.
Yeah.
So and those are the things. Like when I saw 4 stolen bases for Cal compared to none in April of last year, those are the moments where I go, this feels like a Dan thing. You know what I mean? This feels like, okay, and maybe it's not. I'm excited to get out to the park this weekend and ask some questions and see hey, what's different with Dan? Peel away the Edgar stuff, because we're all talking about Edgar, but what's Dan doing? What feels different? What can we credit him with? I mean, if I'm seeing 4 stolen bags for Cal, that feels like a potential difference. JP is just healthier. He got an oblique injury in April 24 last season. He's got more walks, and then he's driving in significantly more runs.
Health is a beautiful thing, right? JP went through his issues. Polanco went through his as well. But I think that Dan deserves a lot of credit. We've highlighted Edgar because we know what he did for this organization, how smooth his bat was. But Dan gives the green light for almost everything. He answers to people as well, but when it's all said and done, he's in the dugout, he's making decisions, he's communicating with his coaches, and he's done a good job putting together a good staff, a staff that connects with his group. And that's something that I look at too, man, is when they're in the dugout and just interactions, right? I forgot what it was, man. Was it I think Polanco when he had his 2 home run game. I'm looking at Castillo. I want to say it was Miller and Wu, and just how excited they are for their guy. They're shaking their head I can't believe this is going down. It's just the vibes just seem so good in the dugout right now, and you got to big ups Dan for that as well. So master delegator, getting the right guys in the right places, making some good decisions out there when it comes to base running, pinch hitting, all that good stuff. Dan needs some love, man. So big ups Dan. Let's keep it rolling. It's scary though. It's a scary place to be because they're having a lot of success. and you're just waiting for it to the downfall, and maybe it won't.
Yeah, maybe they could get a 10-game lead, you know?
I'm just stressed out. It just stresses me out.
Yeah, and did you see JP looking like a proud parent when Julio got home run too? All right, we are going to get back to the Mariners at 10:45. There is, there are 3 names we did not talk about in this segment. And that's because, while I don't mean to burst a bubble, there are some lingering questions we have about this team, things that maybe we're looking for in May. Right now, let's get to headline rewrites.
Extra, read all about it.
Headline rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number 1, Matt Brash made his 2025 debut this weekend, and George Kirby pitched in his first rehab start. What's the real headline?
The boys are back in town.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Come on now. It's a beautiful thing. We've been waiting on this. Waiting on Kirby. We're hearing good news so far about Walter on the mound as well. So, this was good. And you have to get healthier as the season goes along, right? Injuries are going to happen. But once you start getting a few guys back and it starts to snowball a little bit, you start feeling good. So I was happy for Brash. But I was nervous when he was out there, though, too, man. I was nervous for him.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 2, Michigan announced a self-imposed 2-game suspension for head football coach Sharon Moore as punishment for the Connor Stallion scouting scandal. What's the real headline?
And I've self-imposed a national championship game forfeit for Michigan, too. Retroactive to 2023.
Yeah, they had to do something, right? You can't just let these kind of scandals go down and have no one actually pay for it. You do the right thing, but yeah, I'm sure you would want to get that national championship back, Stace.
Yeah, back.
Yeah,
because it was stolen.
Hey, you know how many UW people I know who are like low key want to claim that? I go, listen.
No, you can't. It was
y'all already be claiming what 91, 92. I get it, but you can't claim this one. It is what it is. But heck of a season for you guys. But you may have been up against a 12th man.
There were some moments in that game where you thought, oh, that's a bad call. But they really did just get outplayed for a good chunk of it. Made it competitive at a certain point, but it just wasn't enough. And what's a bummer is it was framed as Washington obviously being, oh, you're a Pac-12 team, you don't belong here. You know, now that you're dancing with the rest, it's just different. And it's like, did we not all watch them take on Texas? Did we not all watch that game?
Yeah.
And that huge, it was like not controversial, but it was a big finish. And it was, I guess that bowl game never happened.
That's just how it is when we out here in the West. You know, they look for opportunities to kick you when you're down and whatnot. But that game,
you'll recruit our players for the draft.
Yeah.
You'll scoop them up and make them first-round picks, but you'll pay no mind to the record.
Nah, it's all good though.
Headline rewrites.
Headline 3, Steph Curry and the Warriors ripped the hearts out of the number 2 seed Rockets in Game 7 last night, and they'll advance to face the Timberwolves. What's the real headline?
Houston basketball choking. What is this? A headline rewrite from April?
Goodness gracious. Poor Houston. Not really, because if my Lakers aren't in it.
Immediately takes it back.
I mean, if my
Poor
Lakers
Houston,
aren't in
just
it.
kidding. I don't care.
I just root for Cali team, so go ahead, Golden State. But really, the story is Buddy Hield. 9 for 11 from 3-point, 12-15 overall, 33 points. You got 20 from Jimmy Buckets. You got 22 from Steph Curry. Only 3 points from the bench, and they still got this thing done. The Warriors are a scary basketball team at this point. The West is crazy. The East is crazy too. The Knicks are playing some good ball as well. This is probably one of the more, even though my team lost, Lakers were out right in the first round. There have been some quality games and performances in this playoff, and I'm looking forward to the rest of it.
Because we won't talk too much about the Mariners until 10:45, we're going to talk Seahawks rookie camp coming up at 10:30. Last 3 minutes here, I wanted to get back to the Mac and Jack's text line. Bumped some listeners sounding off about their theories about Dan's role on this team. Someone said, well, maybe Dan is more of a player coach than Scott was, or less analytics minded, more feel and experience.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Possibly, man. It's about connection. And we've met with Service several times. I think he's a good dude. But maybe he just wasn't connecting with the players and the coaches the way that Dan has. That was a long season ago, but we like what we're seeing so far. I'm huge on body language and just the vibes. And you combine that with the numbers that you're seeing, Guys are swinging freely. They're making good decisions for the most part. Dan has a lot to do with that. He's the culture creator and setter. So tip your cap to him.
I'll say this, and this is me being completely blunt about what's stalling my own analysis of this. I'm eager, like I said, to get out there this upcoming weekend and heading into next week and kind of ask questions about Dan and about the culture, because the feeling I got, including from people well connected with the team, covering the team, who know a ton about the team, was when Scott was fired. Yeah, like there are things you can knock service for. It's ultimately your job to get the most out of your guys, and not every player was the biggest fan on the planet, but that ultimately he was pretty respected, well respected, and that it felt like a scapegoat conversation from a lackluster offseason and a lackluster effort to truly be aggressive in building a championship team. And it felt like if you could point the finger and go, see, it's him. We built you a World Series team. He's just not doing it. And I didn't love that it took pressure off of a front office to be just as competitive. And you know what I mean? So I think that's why I felt so defensive about the firing, is I was like, I'm not even saying that Scott doesn't bear responsibility, but it feels cheap to just say, oh, Scott's doing this, when part of the problem to me was maybe a lack of investment, a lack of risk-taking with spending.
I mean, but did they switch it up this offseason? I mean,
no, but that's what's so fascinating about all of this.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that whenever a team isn't having success, you're going to point the finger at somebody.
Always.
That's just how it is, and that's what being a leader is, especially when you're Scott Service, right? They're going to point at you and say, maybe you're not doing enough. If you are upstairs with the Mariners right now, up to this point, May 5th, you're looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, yup, we made the right decision. Service wasn't getting it done. Dan's more of our guy. He has the right people in place. Still got to finish off this season, but if I'm upstairs, I'm DePoto and I'm Hollander, and I'm looking at the squad, how they're performing, and the lack of spending that went down, you're saying, see, we know what we're doing. Just trust us.
1,000%, but you leave yourself a slim margin for error. Not only that, but there are some lingering questions that I think a lot of people have about this team where they go, okay, well, all of this is great. This is so fun. No one's complaining about winning, but, and then you kind of point your finger at one or two players and go, I do have a question about this guy over here.
I feel like most teams have those guys too, though.
Yeah, they do.
I wish I had a 1 through 9 that was stellar. That'd be nice.
However, some of these guys are guys that you're surprised to not be talking about when you're talking about 8 series wins. Again, that's coming up at 10:45. I'm not giving you a name. You got to wait till 10:45.
Okay.
10:45. Reporters got their first look at Jalen Milroe and the rest of the Seahawks rookies this past weekend. Let's talk about what we all learned with Bob Condotta. He joins us next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but yeah, I feel like I should have gone a little sooner, but I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like I kind of had like an NFL, it's personal list, so like that's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
For over 113 years, Pacific Lamp and Supply Company has been your #1 lighting specialist in Washington, from the Space Needle in Seattle all the way to the Riverwalk in Spokane. With the largest lighting inventory in Washington, Pacific Lamp's knowledgeable and experienced staff can assist with any lighting issue, including intricate lighting and control designs. Plus, they work with all utilities in Washington to get you the best available lighting rebates. Pacific Lamp and Supply Company, Washington's lighting experts since 1912. Visit pacificlamp.com.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, crown disappearing. Hair loss for me was like identity theft. The solution? The simple one-day treatment that worked for me from Advanced Hair. And I'm just one of tens of thousands. Advanced Hair was recently crowned the winner of the 425 Business of the Year again. Advanced Hair begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions, those monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but If you're like me, you want more. You wanted your own natural hair in specific areas permanently. From Advanced Hair's groundbreaking technology to world-class Dr. Perungo, it's not maybe your hair will grow. It's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off, 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
This summer, make sure your roof is ready for the season ahead with a company you can trust, like 3 Tree Roofing. We're not just your roofers, we're your neighbors, and we're here to help you protect your home this season. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free on-site estimate and get your roof replaced before the summer rush and potential material price increases. Our certified technicians make your roof replacement easy and worry-free, so you can focus on the important things this summer. Visit 3treeroofing.com to schedule your free, no-pressure estimate. 3 Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
Hey there, I'm Phil Briggs, Navy veteran and host of CBS Eye on Veterans weekly radio show and podcast. And I often think of my old boss in the Navy, Commander Reed, especially when I'm trying to motivate my kids. Now I know how he must have felt trying to motivate me. This Military Appreciation Month, Navy Federal Credit Union wants to celebrate those who go above and beyond for us every day. Learn more at NavyFederal.org/celebrate. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Call or click 811 before you dig. Anything that causes you to roll up your sleeves a little and dig in requires you to first connect with 811. Call or click 811 and visit safeexcavator.com.
Guys, I'll never forget the first time I saw somebody get results at our clinic. He was an 81-year-old man who hadn't been intimate with his wife in over 8 years. Viagra had stopped working for him, and he was desperate for help. After several treatments, he walked into my office and told me he couldn't believe the results. Needless to say, this was a very happy man. This man made me a believer in what we do. He had taken pills for years, but he had never fixed the problem. When he came to us, we fixed the problem. Our treatment does what no pill can do. So give West Coast Men's Health a call today. Speak with our clinic manager. Ask him any question you like, how it works, the science behind it, and even the cost. Change your life today, like the thousands of men who already have.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just one day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed one-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
We got our first look at Seahawks rookies this past weekend. Let's bring on Seattle Times reporter Bob Condotta on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline to talk about some of our takeaways. Bob, I'm going to start with Jalen Milroe. He seemed to really capture a lot of people's attention, steal the show, as a quarterback will. What'd you see from him this weekend?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of fun in a way having a kind of a relatively highly drafted quarterback. It definitely gives you your off season. Just because of the nature of the position. You always pay attention to those guys, and obviously they're part of every single play. So there's always something to look at there. They ran maybe like 40 plays
combined of like 11 on 11. And so I'm reluctant to make huge sweeping generalizations about much of anything we saw out there in terms of performance. But what definitely stands out from him is like what Mike Macdonald said, is just kind of how he carries himself. You definitely get the sense that he kind of acts like a quarterback. He's a pretty vocal guy. You see that in his interviews where he, how he kind of answers questions and knows. I mean, he's not a shy person at all. So, you sort of need that kind of that take charge mentality as a quarterback. And so I think that's the kind of thing that you definitely sort of felt out there.
Bob, we always keep it in perspective, right? T-shirts and helmets on, everyone looks good. But when we're talking just the eyeball test, was there a player that stood out to you where you felt like, all right, this dude is as big as advertised?
I mean, Emmanwori definitely does that. When you see him out there, he definitely looks like that bigger safety and that hybrid safety linebacker thing almost. But maybe he has the ability to play corner. But he certainly looks the part that way. Two kind of more off the radar guys, but you kind of stood out that way. Jared Ivey, the undrafted free agent out of Ole Miss, who a lot of people thought. I think there were some projections that had him as high as the third and fourth round. But he certainly does from that standpoint. And then, and then there's the receiver, Tyler Brodin, who is listed at 6'7", and the Seahawks are listing him at 6'5", but he definitely is tall, even if he's maybe not quite as tall as his colleges portrayed him to be. But he's definitely a tall guy out there, and you definitely noticed him when he was out there. And, the offensive linemen all kind of look big for sure. I thought Jared, Cable do of sort of the lineman in terms of maybe just how he looked, and they are going to, or I'm sorry, Bryce Cable do, sort of the lineman of how they looked. I thought he kind of looked the part for sure out there, and they're going to try him at guard, so which kind of makes sense.
A question that's probably going to be more relevant as we get into August as opposed to now, but it's one that I keep seeing, so I'm going to throw it your way. Do you anticipate that this team will rework itself a little bit in terms of the number of players per position they carry? For instance, 3 quarterbacks as opposed to 2, maybe a few more running backs. Are you kind of anticipating a different feel for what this roster might look like?
Yeah, I think they will have 3 quarterbacks because I think unless Jalen Milroe really shows, that he's your number 2 quarterback and you don't need Drew Lock. I mean, that would be the question. But they're definitely carrying Jalen Milroe, so he's for sure going to be on your 53-man roster in one way or the other. So that would just be the question there. But I think you will probably want to have all 3 of those guys on your 53. And it's easier to do now a little bit with the way the practice squad rules work and how you can. You kind of have 55 guys basically maybe available to you with the ability to do that every week. So it makes it easier to carry a 3rd quarterback, and you can have that guy be your emergency quarterback each week as well. So I fully anticipate that happening. With the running back thing, I mean, certainly listing a guy as a fullback, what you can do there is have, maybe 4 or 5 total running backs if one of them's a fullback and 1 fewer tight end. And that fullback is basically fulfilling in some ways what the last tight end on the roster always did, which is not play a whole lot on offense, but play a million special team snaps. I think that's going to be the case. Whoever makes the roster, and both those guys might, Brady Russell and Oots, they might both make it that way and kind of be considered as hybrid guys that way. But they will have, there will be some interesting roster decisions that way for sure. Offensive line is going to be interesting too, just because, you got 6 guys you've drafted in the last 2 years. And at the moment, they probably want to try to keep all those guys around in some way, but that might be hard to do at the when it rolls around. So there is going to be, I think they would tell you that's a good thing when you're sitting there talking about how are you going to fit all these guys on the roster.
Hey Bob, this is Mike Macdonald's 2nd time around, obviously this year with this squad. And did you notice anything different about him, or would you say his approach was consistent when you compare it to last year?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I noticed was he was spending a lot of time looking at the offensive line, and I think that's for 2 reasons. One, I think it's just because it is such a key part of the team, but 2, because you have the new coaches over there, and so I think he wanted, he was talking about, he kind of talked about that afterward about how he feels like he's the guy who's catching up because they have these really experienced guys now that are bringing in coaching, a much different way of how they're going to do things on the offensive line this year. And I definitely noticed both days, he spent some of the early time when all the positions are off by themselves. Both days he seemed to spend some time, 5 or 10 minutes just kind of watching the offensive line guys go through everything. And so I don't know if that's a real different philosophy necessarily, but I think as the head coach, I think that's really going to be a big part of, I think, his legacy is if this offensive coordinator change and this, what they want to do offensively now, they've got a couple of years to try to really get this into place and make it work. And that's going to determine a big part of how his coaching tenure here works. So, I think that's something he's going to be very interested in trying to make sure this year is going the way he wants it to after obviously what happened with the offense last year.
Every team is going to limit what they actually show during open practices, and that's going to be especially true during rookie camp, where a lot of these guys are just kind of getting the lay of the land. They're not going to be rolling out any advanced stuff for them. That being said, Bob, do you anticipate Seattle's offense to look a bit different this year? And is there anything you saw from the weekend that felt different than things were under Ryan Grubb?
Not hugely different in terms of. What's going to be different is kind of what I wrote about. Is that they're good. They are going to use a fullback. We definitely saw them have a fullback a few times out there, and they did use a fullback. I went back and looked, and they had about 30 snaps last year where they had a fullback out there. So once or twice a game, they were doing that. But I think that's going to be more this year. You drafted a guy as a fullback. You moved another guy who, at the moment, they probably anticipate being on the roster. It's a fullback as well. So. I think they definitely want to have that as a position this year. Otherwise, not really. Literally, these guys show up on Thursday, and they put them out there on Friday and just kind of run some really basic stuff. So I didn't see anything super different overall in terms of what they're doing offensively. But I think we will see that for sure as training camp progresses.
We keep hearing about. I saw Brady post something about just the offensive line and the intensity that's over there. How would you compare the approach to the teaching methods this year when you look to the squad from last year?
Yeah, you could really see them go through some early stretches where they were teaching the outside zone stuff, and there was a big emphasis on, the foot placement and things like that. I don't know if that's really different than last year. Every offensive, that's crucial for every offensive line. But you definitely did kind of see that with those guys. I don't know if it was hugely different intensity-wise, but again, this is no pads, and they're literally just teaching these guys how to do the stuff that they want to have done. So that's what you're going to do in these early practices is teach fundamentals. But that's what they were doing for sure. And John Ben and in particular, he's a guy who's been around a lot, and you could hear him out there definitely kind of working with these guys and teaching them and putting them through the paces. And so that was interesting to see. It's a broken record about the offensive line, but that is going to be such a make or break thing for this team is whether the moves they've made, both what they're doing schematically, how these guys are going to coach and teach it, and then personnel-wise, make it a much better unit. And, they're going to need it to go from being one that everybody considers one of the worst to at least being middle of the pack. And so, they're going to need to try to get that done as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. There's something that always feels so repetitive about starting with and going back to the offensive line, but it's also how this team takes the next step forward. So we're happy to have your takeaways, and it sounds like they were pretty positive when it comes to that group. And some interesting notes on rookies. You can read more from Bob. He's got some rookie camp takeaways, a couple columns up, seattletimes.com or the Seattle Times app. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, thanks all you guys. Yep, bye.
All right, we're going to get back to Seahawks rookie camp at 11. If you guys didn't hear sound from Milroe, from Macdonald, we're going to hear that again coming up in about 20 minutes. Before we get to it, some lingering Mariners questions coming your way next.
Brock and Salk.
Straight from Pierre, South Dakota, Brock. Gray, good morning. How are we feeling today?
Super excited to be a part of the Seahawks and the scheme that they do.
Are you still growing? Could we see a bigger Gray Zabel at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. And big thing about gaining weight is just steaks and squats. That's all you got to do to put on some pounds.
Steaks and squats. Well, and you could go from Bush Light to Bud Heavy if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. A few extra carbs.
Brock and Salk. Morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports. The app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
LeeJohnson.com is a dynamic research tool.
We want to give the customer enough information to where they don't have to go anywhere else to research any of the questions they have. And if they want more information, we'd love to be there to help. We don't want them to feel like
they're dependent on emailing us or texting us or calling us just to get the information they need. So we put it all out there. We call them digital retailing tools, big fancy calculators where you can get in there and change the terms and change the payments and change the cash down. And it'll give you a disclosure of, hey, when you do this, this means here. And a consumer can get on there and do a lot of this themselves. And then if they choose to get us involved, we can actually get involved on the backside of it and help them along the way. We want to give the consumer the same tools that we have and let them understand what we understand.
Yup, that's pretty much what you'd expect. The LJ Way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
Dave Wyman here with an incredibly special guest, the mayor of the city of Lacey, Andy Ryder. Andy's a proud Seattle sports listener and recently underwent successful treatment for prostate cancer. His treatment method? Swedish CyberKnife. Andy, tell us about your treatment.
The entire treatment was just 5 days, less than an hour a day. I spent more time commuting to the appointment than actually being in treatment.
Any side effects during or after?
I've had very few side effects. I've been very lucky to not have some of the side effects that I was worried about with other treatments.
What would you say to anyone considering prostate cancer treatment?
I'm feeling very confident about my treatment with CyberKnife, and I absolutely recommend it for anyone who has been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Thank you, Andy, and congratulations. Reach out to Swedish CyberKnife directly. You don't even need a referral. Go to swedish.org/cyberknifeprostate. Treat prostate cancer with Swedish CyberKnife.
The team at Mazda of Everett is always working hard to make your experience with their team exceptional. Mazda of Everett has over 700 new Mazdas in stock, tariff-free. It's the perfect time to buy a new Mazda. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett on Highway 99 in Everett or shop online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click the Mazda of Everett price where pre-tariff pricing still applies. Shop their tariff-free selection at Mazda of Everett.
Heading outdoors or on the water this weekend? Check in with Joey and Nelly on the Outdoor Line from 6 to 8 a.m. every Saturday on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Are you still using allergy pills and sprays to treat your allergy attacks? I'm Dr. Ryan Stern with the Stern Sinus Center. Nasal congestion, sneezing, runny nose, snoring, facial pain are just a few of the sinus symptoms we can help you out with. From allergy workups and treatments to modern nasal breathing procedures to advanced outpatient balloon sinuplasty, we can diagnose and treat your problems. Let us help you get relief, easily, quickly, and permanently. Find us in Federal Way or Auburn or at sternsinus.com. That's sternsinus.com.
The Mariners are back in action at T-Mobile Park, and you can be there for big moments all summer long with a Flex membership. Flex plans are perfect for fans who want the freedom to choose their games and seats as they go, while still enjoying all the perks of being a member, like saving 10% or more on tickets with no fees, unlocking access to exclusive pre-sales and year-round discounts, and so much more. Join the squad today at mariners.com/flex.
Now Raleigh wins it in the 10th inning for the Mariners.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times?
You're playing the lute. Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
When you're hiring,
Have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? Well, they're not hard to find when you go to ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. People who are actively looking for jobs like yours. So it's easy to find the right person fast. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
This is Bumpin' Stacy
weekdays 10 to 2
on Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
I'm not bursting a bubble by doing this. The intention is to take a very holistic look at the Seattle Mariners right now. To open the show, Bump, you and I talked about the reasons that we think and the reasons listeners think this team has won 8 series in a row. And there's a lot of really exciting stuff happening. Legitimately, Jorge Polanco is playing like a baseball god. Cal Raleigh is leading the league in home runs. JP is healthy and is performing, and this team is stealing bases, getting on base, and winning. Now we're going to transition a little bit, and this isn't to say, and here's why it's not going to last. The intention is to say, what are some questions we have? What are some things we're still thinking? Anytime we find ourselves heaping praise on this team, what's the thing that keeps us saying, I'm just wondering about this, or but this. So this is the part that we're getting to. And this is inspired by ESPN's Bradford Doolittle, who talked about the primary question that we all have for these teams. So the good news is that the Seattle Mariners were number 6 in his power rankings. That's awesome. But he does have a what must change category, and he says first base production. Looking at Rowdy Tellez and Donovan Solano. He said that combo's mostly responsible for Seattle's 518 OPS there at first base, which is 29th in MLB.
Yeah, you need production there. Rowdy Tellez, we're hoping that he tapped back into that guy he was a couple of years ago when he had, 30-plus bombs there. And Solano was a guy that, we were told it's just a contact type of guy, but he's going to have great leadership. When you look at their slash, it's just not good enough. So, yeah, you do need more production out of your first base, especially out of those two. And Solano, who's a veteran, who's been around the block a few times, who understands this game. And Tellez, who you were just hoping just to strike gold, right, to find oil. And hopefully that big body will give you some more production, but you're just not getting it from those two guys. If you can just get one of those guys just to be average, then you feel a lot better about the future of this team. Even though they are in a good place right now, yeah, you got to look at first base and with Rowdy and Solano and say, okay, give us a little more, give us something, and if you do, maybe there's another run coming.
Okay, so what's your version of, no, I love this, what's happening is great, winning is fun, it's just, I'm wondering. What's your version of, but this?
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's Julio. Everyone's questioning, can he be that guy? Looking at his numbers, his contact on breaking and off-speed pitches are roughly the same from last year. It felt like they were better, but it's roughly the same. His whiffs are up on his fastball, but he is pulling the ball more this year. The solid contact is down, but his chase rate is down as well. It's like you look at one stat with Julio, and then he gives you another one to say, hold on, I'm not ready yet. Runners in scoring position, the slashing grade 129, 308, 161, slugging 469. That's concerning. But then I look at his numbers on the road. He plays better on the road. So is Julio still being affected by the batter's eye? I'm sitting here trying to figure out. It's like I'm talking to one of my kids, and he does great in some subjects in school, and he does okay in the other ones. And I'm trying to figure out, how can I help you? Like, what's going on with your approach? That's the way I see Julio as of now. But what was encouraging for me this last series, there were no strikeouts for Julio. No strikeouts. So he's squaring the ball up, sometimes getting unlucky. If I look at first base, I think you start there because you realize how low those numbers are. But it's what everyone else is saying. I'm not cracking a code here. It's Julio. How can Julio kind of join the JP, the Polanco, the Cal party?
I am going to tie my answer into yours and say that my primary concern about this team is that there is an element of luck and a hot streak inherent to any great stretch of baseball play for any team, any player, anywhere. So you having Cal leading the league in home runs, like Cal's not going to, I don't think. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But I don't know if Cal is hitting 10 home runs in May or 11 home runs in May. I'm not going to count on it. I think that's unfair to ask. I don't know if Jorge Polanco is going to hit almost 400 in May. Maybe he will, but it's unfair of me to ask that. So will a very natural regression or cooling off period for some of these guys overlap with you getting guys back off the injured list? Like, that's kind of what my question is, right? You've been able to overcome what has been a pretty lengthy injury list from this team because you've had a few other key players like JP Cal and Jorge overperforming expectation or performing up to, in the case of JP, like up to what he can be.
Right.
Does that cooling off period thankfully overlap with getting some reinforcements? Like, maybe it overlaps with Kirby coming back, and you're thinking, okay, like team OPS took a little bit of a hit, or team home runs took a little bit of a hit because, let's say, JP and Cal cool off a little in May. But also team ERA is better because maybe George is getting back involved. I know that we're looking more of June for that, but that's what I'm saying. Is there going to be enough of an overlap, or are you going to have a gap where you're not getting done what you need to offensively, and also you're still missing some big names? That's my question.
Yeah, and that's baseball. Some guys start to cool off. You need some other guys to step up. Someone on the text line says, Rowdy's been fine. 4 bombs, 14 RBIs, limited plate appearances. He has had his moments as well. But I think that the reason why Rowdy and Solano are being pointed out is because you want like an everyday guy. You want a guy that you can just count on that first base spot. And then when you have guys like Luke having that oblique injury, that takes away one bat, a streaky bat at that we know how Luke gets down, man. He'll go nuts for 3 or 4 games. And you're looking elsewhere and saying, who else is going to pick up the slack? Who's going to step up and just do it consistently? So if you have to pick between the two, Rowdy's obviously having the better season than Solano. He's had his moments. But it's more about just having someone that you can rely on in that position. And you just don't feel that way as of yet.
Yeah.
There's still time for someone to step up, though.
And again, hopefully to your point and your initial takeaway, it's Julio. Because this texter's right in that, like, Rowdy hasn't been awful, but that's also because your expectations of Rowdy were like, oh, I didn't even know he was going to be part of this roster until late in spring training. Donovan Solano, we obviously knew would, so I would like to see more from him. But if he ends up being a non-contributor, I can live with that because this team isn't paying him to be a major contributor. They are with Julio. They're paying him to be the biggest contributor.
Yeah.
They're paying him to be the big star, to carry this team. And so Julio being fine is great, but it's not good enough.
No, it's not. And he has shown the ability to do it. The concerning part about me is that he's not zoning in on those fastballs the way that we're used to seeing. The scouting report is out on him blowing away high and tight. That's where he wants to swing, where he's going to miss. And what adjustments is he going to make? What adjustments what conversation do him and Edgar have when it comes to his approach at the plate? Because there are times where he looks good, but then when you just crunch all the numbers and you're looking at just the specifics, right, the in-between the lines type stuff, it concerns you a bit. So, Julio, you have to play like the way you're being paid.
All right, we have some new Seahawks rookies to talk about and hear from. You're going to hear from the latest from Jalen Milroe, some of his press conference from rookie camp. We're going to hear from Nick Emmanwori, also from rookie camp, and the latest from head coach Mike Macdonald. It's all coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but I feel like I should have gone a little sooner, but I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like, I kind of had like an NFL, it's personal list, so like, that's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
From whiplash to herniated discs, there are a few car accident injuries we've all heard of. JP Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains that even the most common injuries differ from one another.
Pre-existing conditions, health history, beginning of treatment. There are hundreds of factors that make every person and every injury unique. While these variables aid medical treatment, the strongest case recoveries must also take them into account.
Could you explain a little bit more?
Our team at Pendergast Law is obsessed with turning over every stone to differentiate each case. This requires thorough investigation, diligent listening, and relentless research. We never pursue cases with a one-size-fits-all approach. We built our success by treating every injury and every case with the individualized attention our clients need and deserve.
Pendergast Law's individualized approach to even the most common injuries makes the difference in case outcomes. It's another reason why I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud Phone System. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Get in the zone. AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
1-877 Cards for Kids. KARS Cards for Kids. 1-877 Cards for Kids. Donate your card today.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate your car today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car, running or not, can be picked up as soon as the next day. You'll get a maximum tax deduction and a vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are winners of 8 series in a row. They're going to look for a 9th series win. That begins with an opener against the A's tonight. They're still on the road. They're coming back home Friday. They're going to open a series against the Blue Jays. And then midweek, you've got a series against the Yankees.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now.
The latest from Seahawks rookie camp, we heard from Mike Macdonald, Nick Emmanwori, of course, Jalen Milroe, who's winning a lot of fans over. So let's talk about what some of these rookies said, and then also what we heard from Mike Macdonald. I'm sure we'll incorporate some of what we learned from Bob Condotta as well. So we're going to start with Macdonald's sound. Here's him talking about getting to see his new quarterback practice in person.
Well, one thing that you don't have a feel for Jalen, watching tape or even watching him in practice is just like the spirit he has from play to play. He's got great energy, great competitive energy about trying to get it right. Great command of the huddle. Really takes pride in the operation. And then all these fundamental things that we're going to be building on from the ground up. He's just got a great attitude about it. The coaches are doing a great job coaching him every play, and it goes for all our guys, but him especially. So, if you have that attitude, especially at the quarterback position, everybody else tends to fall in line, and in that regard, it was really, really fun to be around.
This remains the most fascinating Seahawks pick to me just because it's the most important position in sports. And even though I don't think Jalen Milroe is starting this year, those are the kinds of questions I'm going to be interested in, Bump, all offseason long through training camp is, hey, Mike, what are you seeing from Jalen? Yeah. What's that relationship look like? How's he developing?
Yeah, he's the other than Zabel, right? Because Zabel, we know that he's going to be on the football field. He's going to play. Milroe's the one that we're looking to see how he advances week after week from rookie camp to OTAs to training camp. So he's going to get a lot of questions. Mm-hmm. He's a more fascinating player because of just the skill that he brings or his athleticism. Then you're trying to combine that with the skill. I think with Jalen Milroe, we'll find out how good of teachers this coaching staff really is. Sometimes you have a student who is just a C student. There's nothing you can do about it. So I'm not going to say if Milroe doesn't work out, then this coaching staff has failed. But I am going to say I want to see how much he just improves. I want to see and hear how they're talking about him now when it comes down to midway through the season. How many snaps he gets in week 2 or 3 when you get down to 13, 14, 15. That's a clear indication of, all right, he's advancing. He's doing the things that we need him to do. So we feel like we trust him on the football field. But naturally, you got to go at the quarterback position. The most athletic quarterback in this draft, you have him. He's a real project.
Let's talk about what's actually going to help this year, right? I mean, having Milroe can help you if you incorporate him into some like Taysom Hill packages or there's just this dynamic player and a cool conversation to have. What actually matters is like, can Gray Zabel start? Can he do a great job? Can you get improved production up front? Here's Mike Macdonald on what he saw from the offensive line draft picks.
Yeah, it was a great group overall. Really excited about our draft picks. Hard to tell, give it a fair evaluation right now, but you can see the skill set, see the movement, see the things we've seen on tape, see the attitude. We'll work the finish and all the stuff when that becomes time, but a really good first step with those guys. But it's fun to see it come to life.
Bump, it was funny. We spoke with Bob Condotta at 10:30, who was obviously out there watching the rookies, and he both started and ended his kind of takeaways. I mean, we did talk about Jalen, but with the offensive line, and Bob joked, sometimes you feel like a broken record talking about the same thing over and over.
Right.
And what I was thinking about since having Bob on and since hearing this cut is, but it's the most important thing. So he's right. You do feel like a broken record. How many conversations have you and I have where we're like, offensive line, what's going to happen? But you also know it is the single most important step Seattle can take.
Yeah, that's football, that's sports, that's teaching that in general, is that you're going to have the same conversations because people are going to have these same questions. You can go from Condotta to Henderson to you to me, and we can ask about the same position in a different way, but we'll probably get led to the same answer. Mm-hmm. It's just the way that things are, especially when this has been such a glaring problem in your offense for such a long time. So get used to it, Mike, because until that offense is protecting the quarterback and running for $120 a game, people are going to have those questions.
Yeah, you're going to be sick of hearing it. But look, if any point you make, hey, John Schneider wants to improve the run, wants to run the ball more. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about Clint Kubiak. Mm-hmm. We can talk about the addition of Damian Martinez. We can talk about getting a fullback. We can talk about Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. But it's going to come down to the offensive line. Same thing for Sam Darnold. You can talk about all that Sam Darnold did well with Minnesota. It's going to come down to what happened in the final 2 games. Yeah, Sam took sacks, right? Not all that was on the offensive line, but the big conversation that Vikings fans were having after the year was over is how do you improve the offensive line?
Yeah, you feel like we know that most of the questions on this team are on the offensive side of the ball. You did go out and get the most available quarterback you got out there other than Aaron Rodgers. I don't think anybody wanted Aaron Rodgers over here. You went and got a young 27-year-old who put together a decent season last year, but you still want to see what he can do because of the way that it ended. You went and improved this offensive line in the draft with the 18th pick. You went and got new offensive staff, and it looks good on paper, but until you see it in motion, until you see Zabel dominate a D tackle or get up to a backer, you're still going to have those type of questions. And then it's a lot to ask of this rookie to come in and be the hero. He doesn't have to be the hero. He shouldn't have to be the hero. It should be Cross, who just got extended. Mm-hmm. It should be Abe, who looks like he's being healthy. It should be Olu, who seems like he's battling for that center spot, and whoever the other guard is. It's like they have to do a good job of bringing this young man along, taking some pressure off of him so he can just go ahead and be free. Easier said than done. But I think you and I are on the same page. We like what they've done so far when it comes to the draft and offseason, picking some guys up or whatnot. But until you see it live and in motion, you're just not sure of exactly how it's all going to pan out. Yeah. But this is the first step, and I like the first step. New staff, address the O-line, got some other pieces in the draft. You're good so far. Speaking
of some of those other pieces, Mike Macdonald working with something that he hasn't had yet in Seattle, a fullback.
It's a great question. It's a good softball. I just think, we want to be a physical unit, and there's not a lot of true fullbacks in the league right now, and hopefully they're making a comeback. But we got a couple on our roster right now that I'm really excited about. And, it allows you to get into two-back sets. And, you can break the formation. You can try to dictate some terms to the defense and regulate them certain ways. And some of the schemes that you're able to do with, two backs are definitely different than a one-back operation. So I think it diversifies you to a certain extent, and also lets you play like a level of physicality that we're hunting up.
Tell us about some of the things that Seattle can do now that they've got Robbie Oots.
Oh yeah, this is going to be fun because what you can do is you pretty much have another player in the box, right? So instead of 5, you got 5 offensive linemen, you got a fullback and a tailback. So what that does is it allows you to get another body on a body, whether that's allowing your tackle to climb to the second level, leaving the end, letting your fullback blow him up, or whether it's leaving a linebacker unblocked and the fullback going and getting that guy. It puts more bodies on bodies, and it allows for more deception as well. That's where I'm curious too, is how is Oots going to factor into the pass game, right? Whether it's obviously pass pro or if it's play action, so having him start on the left in like an H-back position and moving him all the way to the right side of the formation, releasing him. Like there are so many things that you can do to keep a defense accountable and have them hesitate just for half a second is all you need. That's what a fullback does. And it also brings physicality back to the game. Like, have you seen Oots? He looks like he's like 36 years old. He's a big boy. Like, he looks like all I do is run into human beings.
I don't know
and
if it's the facial hair or just the general vibe, but you're right.
He looks like
he was born in the 80s.
Yeah, my man, he has that fullback type of vibe to him. And to play fullback, to play football in general, you got to be a little off, right? Because it's dangerous. But to play fullback to where you're probably not going to get the ball 90% of the time you're out there, and your job is to run through another human being and create space. It takes a certain type of person, but it does make a defense have to be held a bit more accountable with a fullback back there.
Let's talk about another popular pick here in Seattle. Everyone was excited to see Milroe. Obviously, people losing their minds that Seattle actually addressed the offensive line with Gray Zabel. But Nick Emmanwori trading up on day 2 and taking that pick, he was a guy that not just was mocked at sometimes to Seattle, but that you saw Seahawks fans. How many people texted into the text line bump saying, oh, God, please, Nick Emmanwori, I'd love to see them add to that defense. Mike Macdonald on Nick.
Yeah, you see the movement skills. You see all the things you saw on tape. Different language for him, but he's got great intent. I think he wants to be great, which is a fun characteristic to work with, and great start. But he'll be the first to tell you, like all of our guys have, you see it, and you're like, oh, this is awesome. But hey, now we gotta go. We gotta detail it up. We gotta get our angles right. Eyes. There's a lot of fundamentals that we'll be working on when he comes back, and it's gonna be fun to work with him.
You've actually had this question before in 4-down territory, and I'm going to ask a similar one. A lot of people, I think, kind of clamored, understandably, over the comparison between Cam Chancellor and Nick Emmanwori. And this idea of, like, you're bringing a boom back to the defense. A, is there a more fair comparison? And B, what weapon is Nick Emmanwori? Like, are we doing a disservice and just automatically comparing him to someone else? Like, what if he's kind of his own weapon and his own unique player?
I think he has to be. I mean, we never see the exact duplication of players. We see some similarities in their size, their weight, their speed, and how they play the game. But I think Cam Chancellor was more of a hitter out there. And not to say that Nick isn't a hitter, but obviously, Cam, when you're bigger, that's just what you bring to the table. You're more equipped to knock somebody down on their butt. With Nick, he does a little bit of everything. He has the size to make tackles. He has the speed, obviously running a 4.3, to have a whole bunch of range, and he has the ball skill. You can compare the two. I compared him more to like a Hamilton type, even though Hamilton is maybe a bit taller and a bit skinnier. Right? You compare him to Cam Chancellor. Chancellor might be a bit taller and a bit thicker. It's kind of a mix of both. He's his own player. I think that you're going to get something out of him that you won't get out of Cam. You get something out of him that you won't get out of Kyle Hamilton. He's able to do it all. I think that he'll be good on the back end when it comes to a two-high or single-high look, when it comes to range and kind of patrolling the middle of the field. I think he'll be good when it comes to getting in the box and setting the edge and forcing things back inside or possibly making tackles. And if he has to play nickel, I think he'll be fine there as well. Me personally, I really like him just as safety roaming around. And I think that Kobe, because you're assuming it's going to be Julian, Kobe, and Nick back there. I think Kobe is actually better in the box than Nick is at this point, because Kobe's been around the game for a few years and has that type of bite in him. I think Nick can develop there, but when you want to put young guys out there, especially at the safety spot, a guy like him, I see him in space, just making plays from sideline to sideline.
Let's hear from some of these guys. Jalen Milroe, early impressions of the offensive scheme.
My early impressions is you got to prepare. You got to prepare. You got to study. You got to know it like the back of your hand. And you got to study. You got to get extra time in with the coaches. One thing that's for certain, the meeting time is not enough for grasping the offense. You got to take extra time aside when you're not around the coaches, whether you're with your teammates, whether you're at home. Always time to grow and learn the system, because when you know the system, when you have great preparation, you play even better, and it wears off on the other guys at the quarterback position.
I know that there's a lot of learning still to do for Milroe, but I can't get over how exciting it is just to have a new name to cover with this position. No disrespect to Sam Darnold or to Drew Lock, but it's just fun to have a brand new voice in that room.
It is, and I like you got to take your work home too, man. Like, it ain't over once you leave VMAC. Back in my day, it was a bit harder to take your work home, but you did it. You had to
because you had all that paperwork. I was going to say
and stuff and
floppy disks.
Pop them in. But with these guys, they got iPads. And at this point of your career, this should be your life, especially if you are a quarterback. You should be doing nothing else. You shouldn't know what Bellevue looks like. You shouldn't know what Pike Place looks like. You should know what VMAT looks like and what your hotel room looks like and that playbook. So I like that that he's doing that. But he's a quarterback, man. He's been a quarterback his whole life. He understands what is necessary to really grasp an offense. But, yeah, it's going to be fun to have a new name to talk about. And like I said earlier, just to watch him progress. That's what I love about coaching, and I'm sure these guys do as well, is watching someone do something day 4 they couldn't do day 1, and then building off of that. So I just can't wait to go out there and watch him run around.
Let's get to one more cut here. Nick Emmanwori, obviously there's a lot to talk about with Nick, but one of the most controversial stories of the weekend became him wearing Russell Wilson's number 3 jersey, how he ended up wearing the number 3.
Yeah, man, it was Russell Wilson wore it last, so I kind of was looking for single digits. 7 wasn't available, so I was looking at the next, number that, could mean something to me. But Russell Wilson's one of my favorite quarterbacks, growing up with that Legion of Boom defense. You got an offense, too. So respect to Russell. He did a lot for this organization, did everything he could. So I'm doing what I can in this number. I make it special on defense in my own way. So.
I know that you didn't have, any massive issue with Nick wearing number 3. No. I didn't, just for the record. Our conversation was about it started out as him wearing number 3, but then it became debating Russ as a Hall of Famer. But I think a lot of people just commented without watching the video, and there were a lot of people that did take issue with it, which I found interesting.
It ain't retired. And how long has it been? 3-4 years now?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they gave it enough time. I guarantee you someone asked to wear that number before.
Yeah.
And they're like, a bit too early.
They didn't let Drew wear it.
Let's just chill. Yeah. So, no, I think the time is now. It's all good. Russ is on his, third team now since he was a Seahawk. Until that thing, or if that thing is retired, to that moment, you should be able to wear it. But you got to be a baller, though. You got to come in with Nick Emmanwori type of expectations.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that and 10 advisors. Like, there's just certain things that you got to be able to earn it. That being said, Michael Sean Dugar pointed out that there have been a number of other jerseys, like DJ Dallas wearing Cam's 31. Like, a number of other guys have worn jersey numbers that we're all very familiar with in the many years since then, and no one really lost their minds. There was always like a little question about it, like, DJ would be like, yeah, I reached out to Cam and asked him, like, is this cool? And he said totally fine, but there was never like a how dare they do this.
No.
I mean, come on, how many
football,
people have worn
man.
25?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
24. Yeah, it just happens. Let's get to 4 down territory.
This is 4 down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what NFL rookie just isn't getting the hint?
He's not getting it, man. And I know he's a baller. He was picked top 3, but Abdul Carter.
The second you said.
Come on, man.
Okay.
Like, all right, first you asked for number 56. We all know LT, one of the greatest football players of all time, wore that uniform or that jersey. He says, nah, man, start your own deal. I like the way that LT kind of phrased it. In his head, he's more like, nah, man, that's my number. But he's telling them, hey, start your own legacy. You do your thing. So then he wore 11 in college, right? So now he's asking Phil Simms, can I wear the number 11? I'm like, Abdul, you're not getting it. And Phil almost let him wear it. But then his wife, his kids, and his son were like, nah, Dad, like, that's your number. It's retired. You are second when it comes to passing yards in Giants history. Second all-time in touchdowns. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Super Bowl MVP. Like, let's just keep it. Let's just keep it. It's yours. It's retired. If Russell's jersey was retired, it'd be a totally different conversation. But his is retired. He's one of the greatest Giants quarterbacks of all time. So, look, I feel like that number should be offered to you. Like, Michael Irvin offers the number to the top wideout for the Cowboys, Dez Bryant and CeeDee Lamb. They didn't go asking for it. It's kind of like a thing now. Michael Irvin says, all right, you got my blessing. You go ahead and do it. Just Abdul, man, just start your own thing.
Weird.
Get
like,
another number. It's all good.
Yeah, why not just take another number? Like, why do you have to do this thing where you've got to, like, only wear... It's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know that young people use this anymore, but it's like being a biter a little bit. Remember back in the day?
Yeah, stop biting.
What you're doing. Second down. Who's a UDFA you feel brings a special skill set to the team? It's like Liam Neeson. He has a special set of skills.
Well, this is... I don't think people really know about this young man. His name is Nick Emmanwori. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. But I'm going through the undrafted free agents. I told a listener on Friday that I was going to come back and give them some analysis on some of these guys. He's 6'5", 266 pounds. He went to University of Minnesota. He only had 14 receptions, all right, last year. Only had 14 receptions. Might have just had that in his career, honestly. But the reason why I like him is because he is an old school type of tight end. I was listening to Brady this morning. I think he mentioned that they gave him $25,000 in signing bonuses. You don't give undrafted free agents that type of money unless you anticipate him being on this team. And he's old school. He's a guy that is going to be physical in the box. People were asking about Arroyo. Can he be physical? And we talked to Bob, and he says, yeah, he thinks he can be physical. But this is all this guy is going to do. He is going to beat you up. He does have a few touchdowns in his career. His hands are okay. They're not great, but this is a guy that bring a physicality to the run game that I think Kubiak and Mike Macdonald want. So look out for Nick out of Minnesota.
You said tight end, right?
Yep.
It just keeps me wondering. When you started talking about the signing bonuses, which I didn't know about, I'm like, in my mind going, okay, so if he's here, Varner's here, Arroyo's here, like you just start going like, what does this mean for Noah Fant?
Yeah, man, and Fant's getting paid too, so we'll see.
Third down. What rookie do you feel possesses some Rick Woolen type potential?
Yeah, this one's fun, and he's an undrafted free agent too as well. Tyrone Broden, 6'5", 194, ran like a 4.3 or something like that. He only had 15 receptions, 197 yards, and 1 touchdown last year. I saw those numbers and had to watch a film and ask myself, what do they see in him, right? Because the numbers ain't numbering. And you put on the film, and he has that type of Rick Woolen potential. One, he's 6'5". I like the way his hips move at the top of his routes. It seems like he's just learning how to move people and how to fight through contact. When you're 6'5", it's going to be tough for you to run up the seam and not have that linebacker or safety kind of knock you off your line. You got to find ways to move them and be good with your hands and your leverage. It pops every now and then. He'll show it, and I go, oh, there it is. There it is. It just seems like he hasn't gotten the reps to fully understand how to do it consistently and understand, like, you are 6'5". Your torso is big. People are going to jam you and push you there. But when he does it right, it is beautiful. Gets inside, stems, gets vertical, snaps it across the field, uses his hands when he catches the football. This is one of those that watch during preseason. Keep your eyes on this young man because he has that potential. You can just tell he hasn't gotten many reps at really being a true receiver. So it's going to be up to the Seahawks and that coaching staff to get him right, because you don't just find 6'5" running 4.3s everywhere. And that's, I think, what attracted them to Rick Woolen as well, even though he was so raw at the cornerback position, is you look at the physical talents that he has and you tell yourself, we can do something like with that. We just got to mold him up a bit. I can't wait to see what he does.
4th down. Seattle Times Seahawks reporter Bob Condotta joined us to begin the hour. Anything stand out from that conversation?
Yeah, I like the way he talked about how Milroe just answered questions, because I'm not going to say any names, but there have been quarterbacks here to where they get in front of the mic, and I go, you're going to be in the huddle with this type of swag, with this type of confidence or lack of confidence. There has to be something about the quarterback that makes you want to lock in and pay attention. There has to be something that galvanizes the crew and the guys when you're in the huddle and stuff. And I think, obviously, you got to have the talent. You got to understand the playbook, but you got to be able to lead. And Milroe comes from a military background. His mom and his dad were in the military. So you feel like he has that structure. So listening to Condotta talk about him and other people this past weekend talk about how he just carries himself, I'm like, cool. Step number 1, look and feel like a quarterback. Now work on your game. So I thought that was important, because you got to fake it till you make it. And until you know that playbook, man, you got to get the guys to believe in you. It feels like Milroe's doing that.
That's one of those, like, wildly, not necessarily underrated. Every single football fan listening right now would be able to say, well, yeah, that's obviously important. But something that, like, we certainly don't talk about sometimes is this really delicate balance where quarterbacks have to say exactly the right thing in the mic. And be incredibly professional and never mess up and never. It's such a delicate line to walk, but then also command a huddle in a way that's respected by lots of different personalities. It's such a difficult job. Like, there's more than just the pressure that's on it when you're, breaking the huddle and you go out to actually take the snap that makes it the hardest job in sports. There's your middle management.
You are.
And you're responsible for not just every play, but so many people and what they think about you. And man, sometimes there's guys too, that part of it where you'll have analysts and experts saying, oh, I don't really know, I don't think he's got it. And then you'll talk to people in the locker room and they'll be like, they love this guy. Like, they just love him. And that's what people were saying about Jalen Hurts for a while. For all the drama we talked about with him and A.J. Brown, like, for a while before people thought he was, pretty solid, they were like, this guy commands respect.
Players will follow someone with less talent if they just believe in you.
Yeah.
They'll work with you like, okay, I like this dude. I like what he's bringing to the table. He has that grit, that fire in him. He might not throw the prettiest ball.
Yeah.
He might not make all the greatest decisions, but we're going to work with him because we believe in him.
All right. Timeline coming your way next. Don't forget Mike Golic Jr. joining us at noon. Don't go anywhere.
Brock and Salk. Straight from Pierre, South Dakota, Brock. Gray, good morning. How are we feeling today?
Super excited to be a part of the Seahawks and the team that they do.
Are you still growing? Could we see a bigger Gray Zabel at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, big thing about gaining weight is just steaks and squats. That's all you got to do to put on pounds.
Steaks and squats. Well, and you could go from Bush Light to Bud Heavy if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. A few extra carbs.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, what's up? It's Michael Bumpus for Silver Reef Casino, man. The weather is getting nice. Why not go on a drive? Get on I-5 North, get off on exit 260, and you'll visit Silver Reef Casino, man. They have great deluxe rooms. They have great food there as well. The steakhouse, I went there a couple weeks ago. It was awesome. They also have the new cantina if you're looking to mix things up just a little bit. And when you're done, why not watch some sports? Go to Porter Space Sports Bar, sit down, and enjoy the view. They have TVs everywhere, baseball, soccer, hockey. It's all going down at Silver Reef Casino. And like I said, the weather's getting better out there. Why not play some golf? Loomis Trails Golf Course is there as well. You can hit the range if you don't want to play and visit the historic clubhouse. They got something for everybody at Silver Reef Casino. If you're getting FOMO, don't worry about it. I got you covered. That's all you got to do. Visit silverreefcasino.com. Book your stay today. Tell them I sent you. That's silverreefcasino.com.
Are you looking at diversification and stability with your investment portfolio, especially with the volatility right now in the stock market? Hi, I'm Scott Rirecka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We've been running local real estate investment funds for over 18 years. We've had 0 investor losses and have averaged double-digit returns since inception. Maybe it's time to take a little risk off the table given market conditions. For stability, there's no better option than Legacy Group's Northwest Fund, a fixed return of 9%. Legacy's Northwest Fund also accepts IRA accounts as well. Find out why over 1,000 local investors have invested over $250 million in our Legacy family of funds. Get in touch with us today. Legacy's Northwest Fund, returning 9%, has limited opening for new investors right now.
Call 425-635-4700 or visit legacyg.com. That's legacyg.com. This is not investment advice. Legacy investments available to accredited investors only. Details at legacyg.com.
Safety comes first. When money is tight, Buc-ee's has you covered with available financing. For oil changes, wiper blades, brakes, tire rotation, tune-ups, and factory maintenance, it's Buc-ee's Complete Auto. No appointment necessary and financing's available. Check Buc-ee's.com for the location near you.
We at Three Tree Roofing understand that your home is your castle. That's why our certified technicians use state-of-the-art installation methods to deliver the highest warranties available. Check out our hundreds of online reviews and schedule a free estimate to see for yourself. Three Tree Roofing, your Puget Sound roofing experts.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Worried about your battery and the heat? We get it. You don't want to get stranded somewhere with a car that feels like an oven. We've got you covered at AutoZone, America's #1 battery destination. Our free battery testing and charging service can help. And if you need a battery, we'll help you find a new one, no problem. Power through with free battery testing and charging at AutoZone.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
4 down territory. Going inside the game with Michael Bumpus.
I like this. More quarterbacks should start doing this.
Every day at 11:15 and 1:15 on Bumpin' Stacy.
Hey, fight fans, Bob Stelton here from Wyman and Bob. How'd you like to sit ringside with me at Excite Fight MMA? Seattle Sports is hooking up one lucky winner with 2 VIP tickets. That's right, you and a guest for an unforgettable night of fights on May 24th at Muckleshoot Casino Resort. These seats are right next to the cage, right next to me. You're not going to find them online. This is a one-of-a-kind experience. You can enter right now at seattlesports.com/win for your shot at a fight night you're never going to forget.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Hey, baseball fans, Rick Riz here. I'm excited to introduce you to my good friend Keith Dashafee, owner of Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Keith?
Thanks, Rick. At Pella Windows and Doors, we pride ourselves on delivering top-quality windows and doors that enhance the beauty and energy efficiency of your home. Our products are built to last with innovative designs and exceptional craftsmanship. Whether you're looking to upgrade your windows or install new doors, Pella has you covered.
That's fantastic, Keith. Don't wait. Schedule your free appointment today at PellaPNW.com.
Goodbye, winter mud. Hello, dream yard.
Spring is here. Synthetic Turf Northwest has you covered. No more soggy lawns or weekend yard work. Just green, clean, and ready for backyard barbecues, wiffle ball, or kicking back. Synthetic Turf Northwest, the area leader in synthetic grass, residential and commercial installs, plus turf supplies out of our Woodinville warehouse, and soon in Fife, right off I-5. Mention Seattle Sports and save up to $1,000 off your project. Visit syntheticturfnorthwest.com today.
This is The Timeline
with Bump and Stacy.
Brought to you by 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
Which Stanley Cup playoff Game 7 comeback was crazier? That is leading off the timeline. We're going to, coming up at 11:45, get back to the Mariners, and then Mike Golic Jr. going to join us at noon. First, the Dallas Stars came back down 2-0 against the Colorado Avalanche in the third period thanks to a hat trick. This from former Av, is it Mikko Rantanen? Rantanen. Mikko Rantanen. First this.
Lindell didn't get good wood on it, but Sagan got it out. Rantanen again! Unbelievable! A legendary performance by Rantanen against his former team.
In Game 6, Rantanen had 4 points in the second period. That was in a losing effort. This is unbelievable. 3 goals and an assist in the third period.
Everyone loves a revenge game, Rantanen saying that's not so much a factor in this one.
Would you use the word revenge to describe this? Like, how badly did you want to beat the team that traded you?
Well, I don't know. You know, it's like I've said before, when I got traded, it's business, and, you know, obviously things happened not the way I expected to happen, but it's business, like I've said many times, and I don't know, revenge. You know, I'm just happy to win another team in the playoffs. You know, it doesn't matter who it is. You know, so I'm just happy to be on the winning side and move on here.
I like that. I don't know, revenge.
Such a hockey response.
I don't know, revenge.
Hockey
Certainly
players
wasn't top of mind.
They're not into all that stuff, man. It's all about the team. Try to keep a low profile, but this was crazy, man. I mean, you sent the tweet to us last night or yesterday. Did you send it?
Curtis, for the one I'm about to, the one with like 1.7.
Yeah,
okay, let's get to that one. That one I thought takes the cake for Chris. Yes, hat trick, very, very cool. Obviously, there's the revenge aspect, which you want to admit to, but this is the cut that the three of us were looking at. The Jets trailed the Blues 3-1. With 2 minutes left in regulation in Game 7. They tied the game with 2 seconds left. I think it was like 1.7 or something like that on the clock to force overtime.
Ehlers fanned on it. Count to 3. Ehlers, cross ice, score! Perfetti! With under 2 seconds remaining, ties it!
And then in the second OT, the top-seeded Jets won it.
Connor, back up the boards for Peon. Peon shoots, score! The Jets win it! On the deflection! The Winnipeg Jets will move on to face the Dallas Stars.
I think this game would have given me heartburn if I were a Jets fan or certainly a Blues fan.
If I had rooting interest in this game, I would have been stressed the heck out, that's for sure. But that's the type of energy that you only get in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Like you get great performances in March Madness. I think that's probably as close as it gets. But this is the drama with 2 seconds left, and then they show the crowd outside of the arena going crazy. This is playoff hockey, man. There's nothing like it. I've been to one playoff hockey game, and it was like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. So I can imagine being in this situation, what it felt like.
For either you or Curtis, what's the craziest swing to a game that you can remember? And I'm going to take off the NFC Championship game because I know that everyone's already going to be texting that one. And I want you to think outside the box like Taco Bell here and try to come up with just a crazy end to a game that you can still remember where you were like, oh, my God.
I just saw one. I think it's because I was watching that on X, and then it started feeding me stuff like that.
They were like, oh, you liked that?
Uh-huh. And there was a high school game. I forgot where it was. High school softball game. It's the bottom of the 7th. They only play 7 innings. And this team is losing 12-5 with 1 out left, and they rally all the way back to win that game and to force a game 3. So that most recently, that's probably the craziest one. I've never been a part of anything crazy like that.
Yeah.
But that one was
no
was
buzzer
awesome.
beater type last
Nah.
second Hail
Well,
Mary
you know what?
games for you.
In middle school,
Yeah.
my guy Ian Alexander, I was injured that game. My wrist was jacked up, and he had a shot with like 1.5 left, and he hit it from the elbow, boom, and we went crazy. 8th grade.
That would be
nuts.
like truly my peak in life, Curtis.
Recently around here, Mariners Blue Jays down 8-1. Adam Frazier with the go-ahead double in the top of the 9th inning. It wasn't a walk-off because it was a road game, but held on in the bottom of the 9th to win it 10-9 to clinch the wild card round. That was a pretty insane swing. Being down as much as they were to ending up winning it on the road, that was I'll never forget that win.
Yeah. You know what I kind of wish? I kind of wish that, so one of the biggest upsets that we can all remember would be UMBC over Virginia, but that was not a buzzer beater. I kind of wish that would have been a buzzer beater. It would have felt more like, that was truly a game when UMBC just played really, really well. Like it was obvious what was happening with maybe a couple minutes left, and you were like, no way. And then they end up finishing it off, but it wasn't like down to the wire. I think that would have been a very cool, it's already memorable, but something like that would have been.
Someone just pointed one out to me too. Rest in peace, Helinski, coming off the bench to beat Boise State down 28 points. I remember I went to sleep because we were getting just waxed. I went to sleep.
You thought I can't take
and woke up like with a few minutes left. Like, hold on, we back in this game? Let's go.
I like that you woke up during the game and not the next day. Like you woke up from a fever dream and just, wait, this game's still going on. How is it still going on? Let's talk about another outcome here. Saturday's Kentucky Derby at 7-1 odds. The winner, Sovereignty.
Journalism and sovereignty, nose to nose, down to the last 16th of a mile. Sovereignty has taken the lead. Journalism is second toward the inside. Baez is third, but it will be Sovereignty to rule the Kentucky Derby.
I'm going to be so for real in that, every time Graz tweets about Secretariat, I then watch the race again on YouTube, and I did that. And B, I don't like the name journalism for a horse.
We were making names. I was watching this with my buddy at Side Hustle in Bothell. Now I've never really been into horse racing at all. I just happened to be somewhere. They got some raffles going on. Put $10, $20 in. You pull a name from the hat, and if you win, your tab is on us.
Yeah.
And I picked Sovereignty. And I'm just sitting there yelling at the screen. Yelling, let's go.
I mean,
let's
losing
go.
it.
And my bill was hefty too, man. So I was like, thank you. You just got me like another weekend of fun. It was that was exhilarating. That was pretty fun. It was my first time being into that.
Ooh, getting back to the great endings to games, by the way, or just great turning points in games. Someone said the Dylan Moore Grand Slam against the Astros. I like to forget what happened the following day, which was a trade that then just ruined the vibes. But Curtis, do we have that home run? And I know that's an annoying thing to look up, but oh my God, I rewatched that game from start to finish after it happened. And I wish that the Seawald trade or Graveman trade hadn't happened because it just took the wind out of your sails.
You know, I got to bring up Freddie. Grand Slam, baby. We needed that, Freddie, on a bum ankle to beat the Yanks. Let's go.
Two great moments. But
Now the left-handers, 1-1 pitch to Dylan. Swinging a well-hit ball deep to left field. Grandma, get out the rye bread and mustard. Grand salami time. Upper deck left field down the line. Dylan Moore with a grand salami, and the Mariners lead the Astros 11-8 in one of the greatest comebacks I've seen in a long, long time.
that one was a great comeback. I'm trying to find the actual score. Was it like 8-1? No. So Seattle is down. It's 7-0 at least through the third. I feel like it was late though. It was like 8-1 pretty late in the game. Like that felt just completely out of our hands in that one. And okay, so last one here. LASIK.com has jokingly offered free LASIK surgery to officials in nearly every major American professional sport, and at least 10 have taken them up on the offer.
It should be all the zebras, all the umps, everybody.
They get LASIK.
All right? So when you make a bad call, you're like, I saw it with LASIK. You do a commercial right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this is a great promotion right here.
There's a great commercial waiting to happen for it. You're right. Mike Golic Jr. is joining us at noon in 20 minutes. Before we get to that, why a first-place Mariners team just feels different this time around. That's next.
Blue 88 on Brock and Salk.
Nick Emmanwori, how do you see them using him?
I think they'd love to put him at that second level. Does it allow them a little freedom, Salk, to put Spoon back outside a corner, right? Where you can have some real strength with Reek and him. And this dude around the line of scrimmage, cleaning stuff up on aisle 9. Yeah, man, there's a lot of excitement about just molding that kind of talent.
Blue 88, every day at 7:45. Answering 3 football questions as only Brock Heward can.
Yeah, I have a ton of really memorable customers. So one of my favorite customers I've ever had, he came in and had a really bad experience with several different dealerships. He just lost his husband. His husband left him with a truck, and he was like, I don't need a truck. Like, this is so impractical for me. And it was a really emotional decision for him because it was one of the last things that he had, obviously husbands. We were like, it's no problem. Like, we're going to help you. And we did the process the same way that we always do the process. And we helped him trade in his truck for a beautiful new Rogue. And that was really cool. And he bought his second car from us. And I'm sure when he needs a third car, he'll come back and buy his third car from Nissan too. Afterwards, to thank us, he sent us this beautiful basket of like candies and fruits and stuff.
Making a great day for the people around you is making a great day for yourself. The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Well, this week's First Mark Challenge victory goes to Robert. Robert, why did you call First Mark Insurance?
I heard an ad, and my wife and I had just got our policy renewals from our previous provider, and everything had gone up quite a bit, 30-40%, so I thought I'd give it a try. It was a pleasant experience, very easy. It only took a couple of days to get the good news back.
And were they able to save you money?
Yeah, we were able to save well over $1,000. Not only did we save money, our agent found that we had some gaps in coverage, and they were able to not only save money, but improve our coverage.
Well, now you can be a good friend, and you can tell everybody about it.
Well, I have. I've, in fact, passed it on to a couple of my good friends, and they're taking the challenge as well. So it's been great.
Robert did it. My family did it. Now you got to do it, and it's totally free. Go take the First Mark Challenge today. See how much they can save you and how much better your coverage will get. Maybe you could be our next First Mark Challenge victory. Just go to firstmarkinsurance.com. Firstmarkinsurance.com.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
Want to get rid of clutter and reclaim your space? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling for the greater Seattle area. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We prioritize donating and recycling, so we'll look for opportunities to do just that instead of going to the landfill. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
Call or click 811 before you dig. Anything that causes you to roll up your sleeves a little and dig in requires you to first connect with 811. Call or click 811 and visit safeexcavator.com.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions.
We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Ladies, and you guys too, have you noticed visible signs of aging, those deep wrinkles, fine lines, and facial creases stealing your youthful glow? Sagging skin, crow's feet, and loss of facial contour are all natural effects of aging, but you no longer have to let them define your appearance. Introducing the New Skin Lift, the groundbreaking facelift led by Dr. Brian Scott. The advanced New Skin Lift addresses key signs of facial aging for women and men, restoring natural youthful contours. Whether it's replenishing volume lost over time or lifting the skin to smooth out those creases, the New Skin Lift can help you look 10 to 20 years younger with both surgical and non-surgical options. It's Hollywood's best kept secret and now available to you. Get a free consultation and save $250 off your New Skin facelift. Schedule at newskinlift.com or 206-222-1225. Look 10 to 20 years younger and restore your youthful appearance with the New Skin facelift. newskinlift.com.
Napa Auto Parts reminds parents the fatal crash rate for teens peaks at age 19, and we lose nearly 8 kids every day. Make a family agreement to never drive under the influence of alcohol or drugs, text behind the wheel, or ride with anyone who is. Always designate a sober driver, call a parent or rideshare, and let's bring our sons and daughters home safely. Best wishes to the class of 2025 from the entire team at Napa Auto Parts, featuring top quality parts at affordable prices. Visit them at napaonline.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Mariners were in first place late April last year, and they didn't hang on to it all season long. At one point later, they did regain first place, and not only that, but build on it with a 10-game lead. We all know what happened. They lost it in 24 days, which was an MLB record. We don't have to keep talking about it. We're on to 2025. But the reason that I think some people are pointing to 2024 bump is there is a very understandable sentiment of, yeah, this feels really great, but the Mariners have been here before. And while it is too early in the season to say definitively that this Mariners team is improved upon last year, I think what we can start to do is have theories about what feels different, and where there are some genuine steps forward compared to last season. Not every first place team is built the same. Not every version of a team is the same, even if the lead that they have in their division is the same. So both you and I looked at all the things that were genuinely improved this year compared to last, right? You looked at team OPS, a couple different categories through May, where this Mariners team in 2025, even though both were in first place, were genuinely better. So now we're going to talk about a couple other things that feel different. One of them, Buster Olney saying, hey, by the way, this is an AL that just in general is down.
In the time that I cover baseball, I've never seen one league so much better than the other league. The National League is staggeringly better than the American League. If you are an American League team and you are leading your division as the Seattle Mariners are, you can paint, or even if you're in second place or third place, the league is generally down so much, you can paint a reasonable path to playing the World Series. The National League is like, the Justice League, Superman, Batman teams, the Flash. I mean, they are just stacked with the Dodgers, the Padres, the Mets, the Phillies. The American League team is the land. The American League is the land of opportunity.
Past Bump thought that was really funny.
Yeah, I did.
But also probably, I would imagine it plays into your own analysis, Bump. When you're looking at the team, you also look at the landscape.
Yeah, you just look at the National League and just run differential. Let's just start there.
Oh, my God.
You got the Mets plus 56, the Cubs plus 62, the Reds plus 34, the Dodgers plus 42, Padres plus 38, Giants plus 35, and then the Rockies at minus 89. But we're not talking about them.
No one should be.
All right. You look at the AL, there's only a couple teams that are over 30 when it comes to run differential. You have the Yankees at plus 52 and the Detroit Tigers, a.k.a. the Lions, at plus 63, then your Mariners at plus 29. That alone lets you know runs are being scored at a high clip over there, and defensively, they're doing okay as well. No, it's impressive. But then if you just look at, where the money is spent, more money is spent over there as well when you look at these rosters or whatnot. I know that's the easy way to correlate success with a team's roster, but it is what it is. The guys who get paid the most typically produce the most. So, it's interesting to see the contrast in both leagues, but it also does give you a bit more hope and say, all right, well, I'm fine with this. You're 7 games over 500. You're in control of your own destiny right now. You're putting up runs at a high clip when it comes to your league, your division. Okay, don't worry about anybody else. You handle your own business, mow your own lawn, and you'll be all right.
May 6th last year, the Seattle Mariners, after gaining a game, lost it over the weekend. So at this point, they were a half a game back, though this would have been May 6th, not May 5th. They were plus 11 in run differential. And the leader in the American League West, then the Texas Rangers, was plus 26. This year's Mariners are plus 29. This is a much more productive so far offense. TBD whether it sticks, right? We don't know what factors are at play. Is it a hot streak? Is it luck? Neither of us think it's just bad opponents. Even though we're talking about the landscape, the teams that you're playing have still mostly been at or above 500, right? You have not had games against the White Sox, games against the Rockies, games against really struggling teams. You've played games that have been also hovering around 500. This is a team that is clearly better offensively in almost every single metric than last year's team, which was looking at around the same record. It was 2013 this year and 19 wins at this time last year.
So it has to be a combo, right? Because Cal is off to one of the hottest starts of his career. Polanco's off to one of the hottest starts of his career. And what's happening around you is allowing these numbers to be inflated a little bit because of the competition is different. You mentioned the run differential. Their strikeout percentage is lower this year than it was last year. Last year, they're leading the game at 28%. They're around 21% right now. Simple stat, their batting average is up as a team right now, 245 as opposed to 221 at the same time this year. Their OPS is up, 759 as opposed to 658. So there's always a combination of things. You're getting performances out of guys that we did not expect. Cal has 12 multi-home run games since 2022. Polanco has a couple himself. And you're doing all this while weathering the storm of the arms on the mound not being the greatest at this point, but it's looking better. Get to the end of May, and we might be okay in that situation. Brash is back as well. So it's a combo. It's a combo of things, and you got to get lucky too, man.
Yeah.
You have to get lucky. And is luck Polanco, or is luck just what's happening around in your division, which is allowing you to stay in this fight? The Texas Rangers fired their hitting coach after a game. Was it Saturday?
Yesterday after they actually scored like 8 runs.
They won,
9 runs.
and they fired him, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that situation, and I felt for the guy because I felt for him. I go, I've been there. We know what that's like, right?
Yeah.
Having your hitting coach fired. But, yeah, it seems like there's a bunch of chaos going on around this team, and somehow they're in the middle of the storm, staying calm and just relying on their philosophy and training.
And that extends that chaos to other American League divisions. You know what a really interesting team has been? The Baltimore Orioles. Let's see. Right now, they are in 4th place in the AL West. Run differential negative 55. Just throw out a guess. I'll tell you they were in 1st place this time last year in 2024. Just guess their run differential.
Last year?
Yeah. So it's minus 55 right now. They're in last place. Last year they were in 1st place.
Really?
Yeah.
8.
Plus 55.
Plus 55. Goodness gracious.
Isn't that that's a crazy swing. Minus 55 this year, 5th place, excuse me. And they were in 1st last year. Dang. That's a really weird division. And I think the Yankees hang on? Yeah, I do. But yeah, it's and I mean, we also heard Buster talk about every team's, they kind of have these fatal flaws where he's like, you look at obviously what's happening with the Orioles. You don't have to dive into, but the Yankees, while they've been raking and Aaron Judge has been playing like Barry Bonds for 162, their bullpen is a problem.
Yeah.
So it's a winnable league. I've had so many conversations, as have you, about how the Mariners win the AL West. it's wild to think that they're near the top of the standings in the American League as a whole, because that's where this is right now.
Yeah, that's where they are right now. And the question that we have is, who's next? Who's going to be the
who
next
can get it?
Mariner? No, no, that too. That too.
The A's.
Who's going to be the next Mariner just to get hot?
Yeah.
Or are you going to rely on the same 2 to 3 guys? Because right now it's been Kyle Polanco and JP.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who's next? Should be Julio. It has to be Julio. But someone else join the party and keep the good times rolling.
A couple new Seahawks joining the party. Lots of rookies to talk about. Mike Golic Jr. joining us next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but yeah, I feel like I should have gone a little sooner, but I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like I kind of had like an NFL, it's personal list, so like it's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
You're losing your hair and you simply need a solution that works. You want the best. Modern technology, top-rated physicians, something that's guaranteed to work. Guys, you need world-class Dr. Perungo and his team at Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair has completely redefined hair restoration. From the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, maybe all 3 like I had. Get your hair back with Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment that begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day. Advanced Hair has changed tens of thousands of lives, including mine. And get this, Advanced Hair is once again the winner of the 425 Business of the Year. For your free consultation, call 425-449-8185. Right now, you'll get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. Refine your hairline with the team that redefined hair restoration. That's 425-449-8185. Or for the before and afters, visit advancedhair.com.
Hey, Riverside Roofing is offering $1,000 off a new replacement right now. That's huge. $1,000 off. Quite the incentive for homeowners to book their roof replacement right now. It's Mike Salk here, and it really is a great time to do it. These days are getting long, right? Sunsets after 8 o'clock. Crews can get your roof done quick. So take advantage now before demand spikes this summer, making those repairs costly and time-consuming as well. Here's what you got to do to claim your $1,000 off from Riverside Roofing. Book a free estimate from the website, riversideroofingllc.com, and then you'll meet with Brandon, that's Don's son. Just tell him you heard the message here on the radio station. $1,000 back in your pocket, and yes, a brand new roof over your head. And while you're there, ask Brandon about their 35 years of local experience, GAF Master Elite certification, which puts them in the top 3% of roofers in the nation, and of course the catch-all system, which they use to keep your yard and driveway totally free of debris like nails or shingles. Go to riversideroofingllc.com. Remember, Riverside Roofing is the roofing company you can trust.
There's nothing better than having a big fish on your line. You'll hear that sound a lot at Queen Charlotte Lodge. Experience a luxury resort, breathtaking wildlife, spectacular wilderness, and amazing fishing at Queen Charlotte Lodge in British Columbia. Reserve now for peak king salmon runs and plentiful halibut this May and June. At Queen Charlotte Lodge, it's fishing first class. Go to fishqcl.com. That's fishqcl.com. And remember, our dollar is worth $1.40 north of the border.
Pacific Power Batteries understands batteries for golfers, batteries for your car, your golf cart, and your Bags electric cart. We also sell good, used, 5-year-old E-Z-Go and Yamaha golf carts with a written satisfaction guarantee starting as low as $17.99. Located in Everett, Marysville, Mount Vernon, Bellingham, Monroe, and Wenatchee, you'll find our staff is well-trained in batteries and the latest charging technology. Pacific Power Batteries, with batteries for golfers.
Hey, it's me, the foul pole at T-Mobile Park. But it's about time they call me the fair pole, because those are the moments I live for. When Cal's up to the plate, I'm always on high alert.
The big dumper with a 2-run blast.
And then there's Randy Arozarena, launching missiles into the stands, flipping his bat so high it practically reaches my eye level.
Blasted back, Randy Arozarena strikes again.
And J-Rod, heck, when he connects, he makes the whole building shake.
And it's gone. Goodbye, baseball. Julio Rodriguez.
So come on down and take a seat beside me. You might even go home with a souvenir. Mariners baseball. Tridents up.
Don't miss the Mariners Mother's Day Weekend Series starting this Friday, including a clear purse giveaway on Mother's Day for the first 10,000 moms, thanks to Muckleshoot Casino Resort. Then the action continues with a showdown against the Yankees Monday, May 12th through Wednesday, May 14th. Get tickets at mariners.com.
Free consultations, no fee guarantees, 5-star reviews. J.P. Pendergast with Pendergast Law explains the importance of going beyond these familiar offerings.
Accident victims want an attorney, Tom, that satisfies their needs. Someone who handles those needs with the highest degree of care. Pendergast Law offers the no-fee guarantees and free consultations, but these only scratch the surface.
Okay, explain more.
We make sure that every member of our team is genuinely passionate about helping others. Customer service and communication are our top priority. It's how we take care of our clients so they always feel one step ahead of the insurance companies. Our strong reputation for high standards provides comfort and confidence when it's needed most.
Pendergast Law offers the free consultations, the no-fee guarantees, and, of course, they are 5-star rated. But what really makes them different is their genuine passion for helping others. I can't recommend them enough.
If you or a loved one has been injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
That's PendergastLaw.com.
Let's go! This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports. Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners opening a series against the A's on the road today. Last series of this road trip, first pitch at 7:05 p.m., a late one. Bryce Miller on the mound. The Mariners are going to finish up this series off day, then come back home on Friday, opening up a series at T-Mobile against the Blue Jays.
Snapshot brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. He's the co-host of Golic and Golic, which premieres in June on FanDuel Sports Network. It's Mike Golic Jr. joining us now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. Mike, how's it going?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
We are fantastic. I had a great time during the draft. I loved Seattle's class. There were so many names to talk about. We have a young quarterback to talk about here, some really exciting defensive players. And I'm going to start with the draft, but we have a lot of ground to cover with you. What'd you make of Seattle's class as a whole? Were you happy with it?
Yeah, overall, really encouraged by it. I mean, listen, the way to my heart is always pretty easy. If you want to draft an offensive lineman in the first round of the draft, especially one from North Dakota State, I'm usually going to be pretty excited for you. But you mentioned it from the quarterback standpoint, too. We know this is a draft dominated by headlines around that position. And while so much of the focus is on the fall of Shedeur Sanders, I did always think Jalen Milroe's landing spot was going to be a really interesting one. And surprise, surprise, him landing in Seattle with all of that ability, all of that talent, and certainly some warts to his game becomes a fascinating subplot. I've heard Mike Macdonald already speak on saying, you know, he's going to play him as a quarterback. There are going to be specific packages that try and make use of those abilities. And so I think with those as the headliners there, but top to bottom, this is a class that can fill in a lot of areas and really help Seattle this coming season.
Hey, Mike, can you think of any situation over the past, 15, 20 years where you have your quarterback, but you also have this type of athlete at that number 2 spot, and then you sprinkle them in there? I was trying to go back and just wrap my mind around it. I can't really think of anybody that was in that situation.
No, I mean, the closest I got, and I talked about this with somebody on draft night when he got picked, was I do remember now – they brought him in for a very different purpose, right? When Lamar Jackson got taken at the very end of the first round as the second first-round pick by the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco was still the quarterback. And we remember we got all those fun stories about how Joe Flacco in practice, they'd bring Lamar in for like a weird package play with both of them on the field. And Joe's not even looking his way when it comes to that. And so there was that one situation. But outside of that, no, like the NFL, it usually isn't like college football where you've got a mobile quarterback that wears a number in like the 30s that you're going to put down in the red zone to try and offset your quarterback's lack of mobility. But But I think at the same time, it is also an admission that Jalen Milroe is kind of a unique case study, and he's such a uniquely gifted athlete that I said to anyone, once you got out of the first round, I'm kind of comfortable wherever you took him, and however you want to try and get those gifts on the field, I'm pretty comfortable with, because again, while him as a passer leaves some to be desired and certainly it's still a work in progress, what he offers you as a runner is weapons grade. He is Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels-esque when it comes to the athletic ability on the ground.
I'm glad that you mentioned him as a unique case study, because I think very naturally here in Seattle, people start to look at 2012 and they go, well, wow, here's a moment of you paying this free agent to come in, gave him a big contract, it was considered a pretty big contract at the time, and then you brought in this young guy, third-round quarterback, and he surprises everyone. But I think that it does a disservice to both Sam Darnold and Jalen to compare them directly to Matt Flynn and Russ, when Russ felt like a more, I guess, NFL-ready passer. He was just shorter. And Darnold's so much better than Flynn was and has done more. That being said, Jalen brings so much to the table. I don't know. Were you also kind of making that comparison, or do you see them as two separate stories?
I think it's a very separate case. Now, what I will say is, and the credit to, Jalen, and one of the comparisons that I've seen from him, unsurprisingly, people went to the well on, was the other former Jalen from Alabama, and Jalen Hurts, and the fact that they are both passers that came with some question marks. But the other part with Jalen Milroe, and the reason why bringing him in the locker room is a very different conversation than one we were having in other areas, was, by all accounts, exemplary leader, a guy who really, through Alabama's transition from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer, did a lot for that team. Those attributes you'll love as a guy that's going to be around there to be in your quarterback room to help support Sam Darnold as they grow and learn. So I do see it as a very different situation, just because, to your point, I do not see Jalen Milroe as ready an NFL passer as Russ was coming out of Wisconsin years ago.
How much of an effect can one rookie offensive lineman have on an offense? I try to taper people's expectations with Zabel, because, as you know, Mike, man, it takes five, not just one on that offensive line. He can enhance it, but how much an effect do you think he really can have?
Oh, he can have a decent effect overall, especially as, a sign that Seattle is going to continue to invest in that interior in a way that maybe it's felt like hasn't been the case in a while. You've had some draft picks afforded to the perimeter, but the inside of that offensive line gave a lot of problems for the last few years. And so continuing to show that that's an area that's important to you, having a guy that comes in that is a really physical tone setter the way Gray Zabel is. We saw, through the postseason circuit, whether it was the Senior Bowl or in the lead up to the draft at the Combine, he's a guy that's got a lot of physical gifts, got a little bit of that nasty that you expect coming from that North Dakota State program. And so I'm not going to say it's going to be a wholesale change overnight. It's going to work in concert with some of the other changes on offense that should put an emphasis on that ground game and allow him to go out there and be a part of revitalizing that attack. So, no, I don't think one guy can turn the tides, especially on the interior, but it's about the message that it sends overall in the direction that this offense is hopefully going to go in 2025.
When you look around the NFC West, I would not blame anyone for favoring the Rams to win the division, no matter what any of the teams did in the draft, no matter their offseason additions. It's just it's how the season ended, and the Rams didn't take a step back. That being said, I was a little surprised by seeing how many odds makers had the 49ers as clear favorites over Seattle. How do you see that kind of number 2 spot not shaking up, right? Because there's so much we still need to learn about these teams. But I guess, how do you see Seattle standing in this division?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that race for number 2 is a lot more neck and neck than odds makers would have it. San Francisco getting the benefit of what we've seen before, but I know I talked about it with you guys a lot last year. That's a team in transition. That's a team that took a lot of lumps this year. The core of that roster has been getting a lot older in certain places, and now we know the looming contract for Brock Purdy and the way that they're going to address that changes a ton of things. So, no, I mean, I look at what Seattle was able to do in year one, and then, the rest of the cavalry that we're talking about, in addition to the names we've already mentioned, like Nick Emmanwori and the back end of a defense that already seemed to do so well last season, is an incredible value that they got in the second round here. Elijah Arroyo, what he can afford you in that passing attack to go along with some of the changes in that receiver room there. certainly stand to help you. So you can go on and on down the list. Torrey Horton, another wide receiver that's going to try and offset that did a phenomenal job at Colorado State and had other people trying to pry him out of that school before he returned there last season. So all that is to say, like, I really think Seattle, based on the foundation they laid in year one, the offense is going to go with some pretty wholesale changes, but they're ones that probably lend you more towards a style of play that complements a defense that was the strength of your team last season. And so I do think that depending on who can kind of get their new guys up to speed earliest, San Francisco and Seattle both have a pretty good shot. The difference is, and the key factor that might give the 49ers a slight edge is, hey, you're not bringing in a new quarterback. Hey, you're not bringing in a new voice in his ear. Like, having Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy able to go back to work together, that's a pretty important factor in all of this. Meanwhile, you're going to have Sam Darnold in a new scenario with a new offensive voice, albeit one that he's got some familiarity with, but it's still a big leap that's got to happen at that most important position in particular.
The tight end room is getting crowded, Mike. It's getting crowded. You got Arroyo over there. And when I watched the film, it just looked like a younger, a bit better Noah Fant, right? The way his body moves, he's a bit slimmer.
Yep.
His flexibility is a bit better to me. What do they do if they do show up to camp and you have Arroyo, you have AJ, this young man, Nick, out of Minnesota is going to be there as well. You think Noah Fant could be on the chopping block, or do you feel like they need a veteran like that in the room?
No, I think especially for the kind of player Arroyo is, having someone there to kind of help bridge the gap for some of the parts of his game that need a little bit of fine-tuning, right? Intermediate route running. Blocking, while I think he is a little better than he gets credit for in terms of technique, willingness to stick his nose in there, just wasn't asked to do a ton of it in the version of the air raid that Miami ran last year. And so I do think having a veteran, to your point, that's got a kind of similar skill set in the room with him in Seattle and in Clint Kubiak's system, where you can see those guys having pretty important roles in the way that he likes to, run offense in the ways that we've seen before. I think there's room for two in there, and especially, again, while Arroyo being a second-round talent, not surprising, he is still a guy that's going to need a little bit of fine-tuning in the less explosive areas of his game and the more nuanced parts that we associate more with tight end play in the NFL than just being a downfield threat in the middle of the field. That certainly changes the math for a defense in an important way.
We have a Notre Dame guy added to this roster with Riley Mills going there to add to some defensive depth and compete in the pass rush. Tell me a bit about Riley.
Yeah, Riley is a guy that developed a lot in his time at Notre Dame. Big, physically imposing guy. I remember I met him in person for the first time at an off-season event a couple of years ago, and the guy's arms are as big as my head. He is an absolute mountain of a man, and I thought the interior crew that Notre Dame had last year, as good as any in the country when they were both healthy, and certainly the injury unfortunate for Riley, but really strong at the point of attack, long-armed, able to bench press guys out and make plays in the backfield, a decent amount of pass rush wiggle. Like, him landing in the same room as Leonard Williams, to me, really fortuitous for him. Great guy and kind of a great top of what he could potentially be. Maybe not as dynamic of a pass rusher, but I think very similar styles, and a guy that he's going to benefit a lot from being in, in that room and kind of, mimic that style of play there. So it's certainly someone that I think can be a big factor when he gets healthy and gets back on the field. A lot of physical ability there, and I think still scratching the surface a bit on what he can be as a guy that affects you in both phases, defending the run and defending the pass.
Were you surprised with the approach of the Hawks this draft? I mean, 11 players drafted, 9 on offense, but then you look at their undrafted free agents, and there are a bunch of defensive players there. Me, Mike, I always say that you can find more diamonds in the rough on the defensive side of the ball because it's such an athletic position. We see guys kind of emerge out of nowhere. Back to my question, do you think that, were you surprised at their approach, and do you think that they'll find some of these defensive players with the undrafted situation?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know Seattle's got during the best days, a pretty well-worn history of finding good players as undrafted guys or later in the draft on defense. And I think, too, that's just the side where you've got a little more in the way of the structure of who's going to be affecting the game on the field for you already. And so you can afford to work later in the draft, work after the draft on guys to supplement that versus an offense that you're kind of trying to really remake the identity of this year. There's a lot of big wholesale changes. And so adding more high-end talent to that, especially, along the lines of scrimmage with some of the playmakers that you're trying to add to Clint Kubiak's attack, I think overall the right approach given the question mark that side of the ball is going to be going into this year.
Okay, so I saved this question for the end or nearing the end of our interview because much like the coverage of Shedeur took away from the stories of so many other people during the draft, I didn't want to take away from some of the Seahawks conversation we were having, but I also thought it was a fascinating story, Mike. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating conversation to have. Out of curiosity, did you hear anything about the slide or what might have been going on or what conversations were like? And what did you make of Shedeur's slide?
So I was surprised given just the tape of it, right? Like I tried with a lot of these guys during the pre-draft process to really look at it from, all right, what do they offer you on the field and where would I value that? And Shedeur Sanders was a guy that I thought there was a lot to like about what he did on the field. The thing I always came away from was, hey, for being the son of Deion Sanders, one of the most talented football players we've ever seen, he is a remarkably untalented player. The things he does are a lot more from the neck up. They're about toughness, timing, accuracy, all the things that we heard about him in the lead up to the draft, but they don't necessarily have the talent that jumps off the page that usually gets you drafted really high. And then comes the other stuff, which I started to hear about a lot more after the draft from people I talked to, and the stuff that we saw being reported, which was the horror stories about the interview process. The way that not only Shedeur Sanders, who you heard mixed things on, I heard from some people that said, hey, Shedeur was really great when we had a chance to interact with him, but man, sometimes dealing with his camp wasn't always so great. We heard the things about the Giants meetings and some of the interactions there. And overall, it kind of reminded me in college of the situation with Nico Iamaleava that we saw in Tennessee, which is feels like guys that overplayed their hand a bit in terms of where they were on the talent scale and how much people were going to be willing and able to put up with the other stuff. And so talent-wise, him falling out of the first round, not overly surprising. That was kind of where I saw him truly going into the pre-draft process. But then all of a sudden, when you start to see these other things and you're in range of being a backup, man, there's a lot of things with the attention and with the way that it sounds like reportedly things were conducted in the pre-draft process. Those aren't necessarily things you're lining up to have in your locker room behind the quarterback that you want to be your guy. And so all of it led to the perfect storm combined with the last name and all of what we've seen the last couple of seasons in terms of the coverage of Colorado football because of Deion Sanders. And you get what we got, which is one of the most unique draft weekend scenarios I can ever remember.
He is Mike Golic Jr., kind enough to join us on this Monday afternoon. Thanks so much, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, guys.
Don't forget, Golic and Golic premieres June on the FanDuel Sports Network. You can hear more from Mike Golic Jr. there. Let's get to Headline Rewrites.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Headline Rewrites.
We must make headlines.
The real story behind the headlines in today's news with Bump and Stacy.
Headline number one, Matt Brash made his 2025 debut this weekend, and George Kirby also pitched in his first rehab start. What's the real headline?
The boys are back in town.
The boys are back in town. That's such a classic Adam Sandler middle-aged man walkout song. Like I just see middle-aged men walking in slow motion. The boys are back in town.
I got so much flack for saying that about Adam Sandler, by the way. I didn't say anything bad at all. I just said a lot of his
all
movies.
The movies are alike.
I said all the movies are kind of the same.
Yeah.
What's wrong about that? That's all
wrong.
right.
I was wrong about that. But Brash, man, happy to see him out there. He set one down, and watching him is like watching one of my children come back from an injury. I'm just so nervous for them. Like, just get out healthy, scared. Baby. Just get out healthy, do your thing. But no, you need to start getting healthy.
Yeah.
And the Mariners are doing that in a sense, right? Guys are getting banged up too, man. Luke is out, but Demo seems like he might be coming back soon as well.
Yeah, 7th, I think.
So it's the ups and downs of a season. You know, one guy gets hurt, another guy steps up, but nice to see Brash back in action.
Yeah, Dylan Moore scheduled to, at least of last update, I think this was from Shannon Dreyer, is scheduled to come back the 7th, basically for this home series that they're coming back to after the A's on the road, which is good. And earlier in the show, one of the questions that we had was, is the hot streak for Cal and Jorge Polanco and, JP playing really well, are you going to be able to get enough overlap with getting some guys back? Because what you don't want is for your hot bats to cool, but then you still don't have reinforcements, and you still don't have bullpen arms and starting arms and utility guys that are able to come back healthy. So you're right. I mean, getting Brash back while these guys are hot, huge. Getting Dillon back, while things are feeling great, huge.
Headline rewrites.
Headline number 2, Michigan announced a self-imposed 2-game suspension for head football coach Sherrone Moore as punishment for the Connor Stallions scouting scandal. What's the real headline?
That's so funny. I've actually self-imposed a national championship game forfeit for Michigan.
Of course you would.
Mm-hmm.
You dubber.
Yes.
You guys are bitter over that stuff. It was a great season, though.
It was a great season.
It was a great season.
It was the best season I've ever watched.
Yeah, it was awesome. But Michigan had to do something, and he's the head honcho at this time, so he must be punished. And I always like when it's self-imposed. Like, NCAA, we'll take care of it ourselves. We don't want anything harsher than what you're going to hand down. But it's the right thing to do. I mean, because all involved knew what was going on. At least the people at the top of this food chain, he definitely knew what was going on. It is cheating. It's not good. So go ahead and sit down and take your medicine.
Headline rewrites.
Oh, no.
Headline 3, Steph Curry and the Warriors ripped the hearts out of the 2-seeded Rockets in Game 7 last night, and they will advance to face the Timberwolves. That's the real headline.
Houston basketball choking. What is this? A headline rewrite from April?
Not nice. Not nice, Stacy. But it was good, though. What was crazy? So I walked into a restaurant right after this game was over with. You know what somebody told me? Wasn't you just playing in Houston? Draymond Green. They said I look like Draymond Green.
Because of the gray in your beard?
Yes, I'm like my brother. I am a dark-skinned man, and I do have gray in my beard.
Yeah.
But don't do that to me. Don't do that to me.
You should have taken that as just an excuse to kick him where the sun doesn't shine, because that's what Draymond does.
The wildest is when, because this guy's just giving you a hard time.
Yeah,
the
he's
wildest
talking
is
crap.
when someone genuinely thinks that someone is someone else. Like my friend Michael Sean, someone genuinely thought he was Richard Sherman
That's
or
crazy.
Shaquille Griffin or both, and asked him to autograph something.
Did he sign it?
Yes.
Heck yeah. You got to do it. If he would have asked my autograph, I would have signed it.
He said Draymond.
I would have done it. Like, let's get it. Draymond had 16. Jimmy Buckets had 20. Curry had 22. Buddy Hield, 33. He's quietly one of the better shooters in the league. Started off this season hot, then kind of fell off a little bit. Only needed 3 points from their bench. The Warriors are dangerous, man. They're just a streaky team. If they get hot, they're hard to beat. But that's just the West in general. It's been fun so far in these NBA playoffs. And look, I know we talk about LeBron and how he's towards the end of his career and whatnot. Let's not forget Steph, man. He's 36 years old. And him and Draymond, that run is coming to an end. So let's appreciate Steph and the gang as well.
I feel like it's kind of a battle between, now this depends on how you feel about a few of these guys, but a battle between fairly likable or fun players, with Warriors, Timberwolves, Warriors being mostly likable. Like, I know they had a dynasty, but I don't know people who hated Steph Curry. And then, obviously, no offense, but the Timberwolves are a pretty fun team.
Hey, nice, man. I like it. He's my favorite player.
This series, Game 1, starts on Tuesday at 6:30. It's the second of that slate, and Pacers-Cavs is going to be 4 p.m. For today, you've got Knicks-Celtics at 4 p.m., Game 1, and then Game 1, Nuggets-Thunder at 6:30. You're still favoring, unfortunately, the Thunder out of the East. Curtis, what about you?
West.
Or out of the West. Curtis, what about you for East and West? You've got Knicks-Celtics, Nuggets-Thunder today, and then tomorrow you've got Warriors-Timberwolves, and then Pacers-Cavs.
I think in the Western Conference, I hate to say it, but Oklahoma City, I mean, they're so well rested, and they face a Denver team coming off a 7-game series. That's going to be a tough turnaround for Denver to make it work. I was stunned by Indiana getting the win in Game 1. I thought Cleveland was going to roll through the Eastern Conference. That doesn't seem to be the case right now. I'm rooting hard for either Minnesota or Golden State to kind of ruin things in the Western Conference.
Yeah, unfortunately, they both can't go.
I know, but whoever it is that wins that series,
But, yes,
I'm
I
rooting
agree.
for them to take on OKC. in
Do you
the
have like a
Western
secret
Conference
preference?
Finals.
A little bit Minnesota?
Well, I feel like Golden State with Steph and Jimmy Butler, two guys who have been in a lot of NBA Finals games, They are much more battle-tested than that Minnesota team who made it to the Western Conference Finals last year. I feel like if Golden State gets by Minnesota, they would have a better shot to take down Oklahoma City.
Someone said, Stacy, you're awesome, but I'm not sure likable is high on the list of things people say about Draymond Green. No, he's a villain. I didn't say he was likable.
No, I don't think you did.
I said Steph Curry's likable.
Yeah, Steph.
And I said the Timberwolves are a fairly likable, team. I don't know.
They are a likable team.
I don't think either is like a villain or villain team. No, everyone hates Draymond Green.
Other than them beating my Lakers, yeah, they're a likable team.
Was it you even said, though? You were like, I like Edwards trash talking. Like, even I was kind of like, okay, I respect it.
Oh, an LA guy liking the Timberwolves or Ant as their best player is such an LA move. What does that mean? They just respect game. I don't have a favorite player on the Lakers.
Yeah, but respect, I think Steph is the face of the Warriors. And when I'm talking about likability, it's Steph Curry is incredibly likable.
No one hates Steph Curry.
No one hates Steph Curry.
And he's a great golfer.
Yeah. There's unlikable guys on like any team that you can find, but I think any promotion is going to be like, it's Curry.
Yeah. Chef Curry with the shot. That's how it's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. As Drake once said. As a Canadian once said. All right. Pro Football Focus lead draft analyst Trevor Sikkema is going to join us at 1. We are going to get back to the Mariners a little bit before we do that. But first, a look around the NFL. Colin Cowherd says he's hearing the Seahawks plan for Jalen Milroe is next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but I feel like I should have gone a little sooner. But I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like I kind of had like the NFL, it's personal list. So like that's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
If you've been in a wreck or a fender bender,
you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility, not just where your insurance company tells you to go. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. With over 25 years of auto repair work, they'll exceed your expectations.
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
At Accurate Auto Body, all their work is performed by certified technicians, only using OEM parts to guarantee the safety of you and your family. For the best in auto body collision repair and customer service, give them a call at 425-883-2450 or AccurateAutoBodyWA.com. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
we meet by accident, fixing every last bit. Accurate Auto Body.
Need a new roof now? With State Roofing and Exteriors, you can get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's right. Protect your home now and pay later. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service will help your company with logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linen, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do. Visit suplinen.com.
Did you hear? A recent
stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-917-4635, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-917-4635. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-917-4635 now to secure your $10 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-917-4635.
We are Seattle Sports, the home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
Watch your favorite show live at seattlesports.com.
I like my teacher because she helps me with my problems at school.
No matter how old you get, you always remember that one great teacher. Hi, this is Rick Riz, inviting you to join WSECU in celebrating Teacher of the Week. This year, we're going to honor 24 great teachers with grants of $500, sponsored by WSECU, the credit union for Washington. Nominate an exceptional teacher now at mynorthwest.com/teacher.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain, and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Colin Cowherd knows the secrets. That is leading off NFL headlines. It is a Seattle topic, but Colin Cowherd says he's heard what the Seahawks' plan for Jalen Milroe is.
Told that Seattle wants to play Jalen Milroe in 6 or 7 plays a game. Is that they just think he's too athletic not to get on the field. And I mean, there were times with Lamar Jackson, you watched him his first year, you're like, is he the best athlete on either team? I mean, Michael Vick had that component. Milroe is a sensational athlete.
Yeah. No, Milroe is a sensational athlete, Bump. But I am going to combine it with this sound from Mike Macdonald, who was asked whether Jalen Milroe is going to be brought here as a Taysom Hill kind of guy.
What I was trying to say at the time was we respect the heck out of Taysom Hill. We've gone against him several times, and he's a gigantic pain in the butt and a great player in his own regard. But I think you have to go into these things. These are independent players with their own skill sets and own abilities, and we drafted Jalen to play exclusively quarterback. I think what makes Taysom such a great weapon is that the guy you have to account for him as a tight end and a fullback body when he's not playing quarterback, where we're not going to be using Jalen in that matter. So when he's in there, he's going to be playing quarterback for us. But I think the way that we want to operate with Jalen is if and when he earns opportunities to be on the field, we'll do the things that he does really well. Same as when Sam's taking snaps for us, we're building it around his skill set and the things that he does. And if you're not doing that as an organization and a football team, I think you're doing it the wrong way. So same thing with Drew. But it's going to start with the quarterback, and then kind of everything falls in place from there.
That to me is a little spicier than a Taysom Hill package. It's not we're bringing in this all-around athlete to kind of, put pressure on the defense and put them on their heels. He's going to be in there taking actual quarterback snaps at quarterback. What's he going to do with it?
He will be under center. He will not be at tight end. He will not be a running back. He will be under center. And Cowherd, listen, respect to Cowherd, but that's not like, oh my God, how did you know 6 to 7 plays a game? Milroe's, of course he is. He's one of the best athletes on the field. Yeah, he's going to get about 4, 5, 6 of those plays as he should. But at the quarterback position, they're going to allow him to throw the rock as well. They're going to allow him to set it up with the run. There's no way you're going to keep him off the field for the entirety of a game. No way. Sam Darnold's still going to be your guy. But this is a gadget like Taysom Hill, but Taysom Hill wasn't just a quarterback. He did multiple things. Milroe is a quarterback. He will take snaps at quarterback.
You know what's actually going to happen, though, is if he takes snaps at quarterback and that snap happens to be a successful drive that converts and gets a touchdown, you're going to have quarterback controversies. That no matter what. Even last year when Sam Howell came into the game, I did not think Sam Howell played exceptionally well. But that was the only drive in which they scored a touchdown. I think it was Zach Charbonnet with a rushing touchdown, I think. And still somewhere there were people going, well, hey, only drive where they scored was with Sam Howell under center, with Sam Howell out there.
Well,
We'll just do bad analysis.
Drive,
no, it's bad analysis. But I'm telling you, imagine if Jalen actually looks pretty good.
Yeah, and that's a weapon you'll have, and you utilize it properly. But Sam Darnold is the better NFL quarterback right now.
Yeah.
It's going to take more than just a couple big plays for Kubiak to say, here are the keys for 60 to 65 plays a game. I don't think so, but yeah, people will be talking about him if he does ball out.
The 2027 NFL Draft will be hosted by the Commanders in the National Mall in Washington, D.C. On the National Mall in Washington, D.C. Pittsburgh was announced as the 2026 host following last year's draft. So it's going to be Pittsburgh this upcoming spring, and then the following spring, I almost said the Nationals, the Commanders.
That's good. I like this. Keep mixing it up. I don't think the draft has ever been there. Since they started moving away from New York, man, it's been fun because you get to see just the different cultures. I did not expect Green Bay to show up the way that they did. And granted, people traveled to Green Bay, but I thought the numbers were going to be down just because of the location. But no, the NFL realizes that the draft is a huge thing, and if you set it up, people will show up. But it's also important that you show the country just different regions. And I think Washington, D.C. Should be fun. But be careful out there. Watch which street you turn down because D.C., it does go down.
Bump the 425 says, why is everyone giving Milroe a Taysom Hill comp? Milroe's never played tight end.
Because they're just thinking of an athlete and saying he can do that. You're absolutely right. No, he's a quarterback. If I see that man line up with his hand in the dirt, I'll be shaking my head. That is not what he does. He's a quarterback.
I will throw in, and you've already said this, that the Clint Kubiak connection is also making people say it a little bit more. It's one thing to have random NFL fans say it, but I think the reason that reporters are asking about it is specifically because Clint Kubiak is a huge fan of Taysom Hill and what he was able to do with Taysom in New Orleans.
Yeah, but he ain't Taysom Hill.
No.
Come on.
The Rams and Matthew Stafford have finally finalized their new deal for the 2025 season. Stafford will make $44 million this year.
Your boy, he got his money.
Okay,
That's
you're making it seem like I've got 44. Some hate on Matthew Stafford. However,
hey, I've never seen you get after somebody like Matthew Stafford.
No, I don't get after Matthew Stafford. I think that Matthew Stafford is just I'm kind of like waiting for the cliff, right? Like Matthew Stafford is and has always been a very good passer, a clearly good passer. But I think that my memories of Matthew Stafford of late are partially incorrect, but also partially clouded by injuries, like the Rams being a little snake bitten, Stafford being a little snake bitten. The fact that for 2 consecutive off seasons now, you've had some questions about whether or not he's staying there and what the plan is. People were mocking a quarterback to the Rams. It feels like the writing is on the wall for potentially this being his last year with LA. You don't think
he's
so?
37, 36. Every year is potentially his last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you were making a case to not bring him back. And it's like, who else you going to get?
I was?
Yeah. You were like, I don't know. I think they should move on from him. He's 37 years old. He can't stay healthy.
Oh, no, they should definitely move on from any player who could win them any games. That I believe. That I believe. I think that they should absolutely, I think for that matter, they should move on from Puka Nacua. He's got some red flags. I think that they should move on from the entirety of that defensive line. I think that those are bums.
Okay.
And they shouldn't be playing any down of football. They should probably, not even trade, just release them.
Just release them. Let somebody else get them.
No, I think that if I were LA, I was surprised that they didn't address the quarterback position a little sooner in the draft, yes. To answer your question more seriously, I thought that they should have.
Yeah, I thought they would. Honestly, once Shedeur wasn't picked up and the Rams were there, I'm thinking, all right, maybe they take a swing at him. But no, you have to start preparing for the future for sure, especially when your quarterback's 36, 37.
Yeah, 206. I mean, he's no Trent Dilfer.
He's no Trent Dilfer.
He's no Trent. Okay, more on the Rams. Ian Rappaport says they could be a team to watch as a trade partner for Jalen Ramsey starts to emerge. What? A Jalen Ramsey Ram reunion. Take a listen to Ian Rappaport here.
The Rams are an interesting possibility here. I mean, Sean McVay has come out and said they're still interested in Jalen. They've had conversations. He and Jalen still talk. Like, they are still friends. I know McVay considers him to be one of his favorite players he's ever had. Like, they're not there yet, and I don't get the sense conversations have been recent, but that would make a lot of sense as a landing spot for Jalen Ramsey.
What do you think about a reunion?
I would hate it for the division, but Jalen Ramsey still got some good football left in him, man.
That's what's so weird about it.
He really does. And it's hard to find corners that big and with those ball skills.
Yeah.
Like, he's special, and I think he got like 3-4 more left in him.
I think there are some really good players that just for some reason find themselves bouncing around, and maybe it's because it's like they get these big contracts but aren't necessarily the very best, but they've still got so much to contribute. This is a bad comparison, but an example of a player who I don't think there's any reason to worry about them, but they just happen to bounce around a little bit would be Ernest Jones, for instance, right? Going from the Rams briefly with Tennessee here to Seattle, I think there were some people going, well, what's wrong?
Right.
Like, if you know a player's good, why aren't you hanging on to him? And it's like, there are all kinds of things that play into that kind of stuff.
It's cap hits, it's fit. You know, you got a younger guy that you want to develop. You got to give space for that guy to grow. So it's I mean, money is at the top of the list, but then you factor in all the other things, and there's reason for guys to be let go.
Next up, Warren Moon confirmed this weekend the Titans are getting all new uniforms for the 2025 season.
The Tennessee Titans have new uniforms coming, a whole new set. And I've seen glimpses of them, but it's not the Houston Oilers jersey.
I understand. What do these Titans unis look like?
Pretty good.
Are they clean? Are they like futuristic? Give us something.
They fit with the times, but they're also a little futuristic. So they will advance with the times. We'll put it that way.
I wish I knew what that meant, Warren. I really do.
Low-key flex.
Yeah.
Texted Warren Moon this weekend because I saw he was at the Derby.
Oh, wow. That's a high-key flex,
Just a little
actually.
flex. Just a little
no,
flex.
just real quick. So I was texting Warren Moon.
I saw him at the Derby, and I told him about my winnings. He was hyped for me.
Oh, my God. I texted Warren Moon about me winning this Kentucky Derby bet.
Because he was
It's
there.
just-
he was
very
looking
cool.
fresh, too.
Oh, so you were hanging out with Warren Moon?
No,
at the, okay.
no.
Okay.
He was at the Derby. I
Okay.
saw him on TV, and I
okay,
texted him.
okay. Well, that's a big flex.
And
I texted my mom this weekend.
how's she doing?
She's doing good.
Good?
Yeah.
See, that's a deeper connection, though. Mom and daughter. That's deep.
True. It's just so beautiful. I have something to say about the Tennessee Titans, and I'm sorry to Mike Lefko if he's listening, and to Warren Moon if he's listening as well. But I don't think there's anything the Titans could do that would make me like their jerseys. I dislike their color combo.
I like their color combo.
See, I don't like that color blue.
No?
No, so Panthers, versions of the Panthers, the Titans.
See, I don't like the Panthers. It's the blue and black for me, but the blue on blue, I kind of like that.
I don't like baby blue.
No?
No, like that kind of, what is it called? I don't know. I'm blanking on the name of it, but I'm not a fan of it. And I don't think they could do a single thing. Even like retro, it's like, yeah, it's cool in theory, but.
You don't like the Oilers?
I don't like, I mean, even when the Kraken have like the lighter blue, like in the jersey a little bit, I don't even like that. I just don't like teal and I don't like baby blue.
Okay.
Get them off my screen, get them out of my life. You know what I mean? It's a little aggressive.
Sure.
Abdul Carter's search for a jersey number continues. This after Giants legend Phil Simms and his family turned down Carter's request to wear number 11. Okay, I know.
Yep. We've been there.
I'm going to move on.
We got some stuff.
I know. I'm going to move on. It's a Monday, okay? I know exactly what I'm doing. Here's what the NFL draft meant for Sam Darnold.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10.
Jeff Passan of ESPN, who joins us.
Where is Cal in the pantheon of the best catchers in baseball right now?
I think he's at the top of the list, right?
I mean, just at this point, I'm not sure who else is there. What we're seeing, though, is the guy who the Mariners gave $100 million guaranteed to.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here from my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen. And PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Hey guys, did you know that half of men over age 50 have erectile dysfunction on some level? Whether you have mild, moderate, or severe ED, West Coast Men's Health can help. We don't prescribe pills and hope they work. Instead, we treat the root cause of the problem with acoustic wave therapy, which breaks down plaque, unclogs arteries, and restores blood flow. We have treated thousands of men across our 11 locations nationwide and have established ourselves as a leader in the industry. So whether you have ED, Peyronie's disease, or suffer from chronic pain, such as neuropathy, carpal tunnel, or Dupuytren's contracture, West Coast Men's Health can help. No pills, no shots, no surgery, just results.
With clinics in Redmond and Tacoma, call West Coast Men's Health at 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Mother's Day is Sunday, May 11th. Still need a gift for Mom? Puyallup Chocolates will make you look thoughtful. Send Mom a stunning gift box filled with premium chocolate treats. It's so beautiful, no wrapping is needed. Every box includes a handwritten card with your message. Order by May 7th to guarantee delivery in time for Mom. Go to PuyallupChocolates.com and use code ESPN to get 20% off. A beautiful box, a sweet surprise, and a very happy mom. PuyallupChocolates.com. Order now.
Call or click 811 before you dig. Anything that causes you to roll up your sleeves a little and dig in requires you to first connect with 811. Call or click 811 and visit safeexcavator.com.
Hey, Mike Salk here with special guest Ryan Roland Smith, and we love having Hyphen on the show to talk a little baseball, but today, talking about something a bit more personal, yet really exciting. Hyphen, share all the good news.
Thanks, Mike. Look, I've been hearing for about 2 years now how you did the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic plan and how you lost a ton of weight. I decided to see what the program was all about, and I'm so glad I did. So far, I've lost 30 pounds in just 60 days, and my only regret is not starting sooner.
Well, I'm happy for you. What's been the best part of the program so far?
Honestly, how simple it's been. There's no crazy exercises, no counting calories or scary shots or injections, no side effects or any of that stuff. I feel healthier, I'm sleeping better, I'm eating delicious meals, and the
accountability plus communication from the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic team has made it fun.
Man, that is awesome, buddy. Would you recommend it?
Yes. To anyone listening, I was in your shoes. Just schedule a 15-minute consult at Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. It's all you have to do to start.
Dr. Ryan Coogan, DC. Results may vary.
Need a new roof but not in the budget? A new roof doesn't have to break the bank. Justin Shirley, CEO of State Roofing and Exteriors here. Right now, State Roofing and Exteriors is offering 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for up to 24 months. That's 2 years with no payments while getting the protection your home deserves. But this offer won't last forever. Call 866-ROOF-ROOF or visit stateroofing.com today to get on our summer schedule now. State Roofing and Exteriors, held to a higher standard since 1968.
Want to get rid of clutter and reclaim your space? John here with Happy Hauler, Seattle's eco-friendly junk removal. We're a family-run small business that provides junk removal, donations, and recycling for the greater Seattle area. At Happy Hauler, we pride ourselves on responsibility, community, and sustainability. We prioritize donating and recycling, so we'll look for opportunities to do just that instead of going to the landfill. Make yourself, your community, and the planet happy. Reclaim your space. HappyHauler.com, hauling with a heart.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Bump. Someone on the text line hurt my feelings.
What they say?
They said I was the Trent Dilfer of color opinions.
Hey, Trent won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we all have our wins. My 5, I think the 5, not my 5 least favorite. The 5 worst colors are as follows. Number 1, teal. Number 2, fuchsia. Number 3, baby blue. Number 4, purple. And number 5.
Purple.
Yeah. And number 5 is neon orange.
You're a dog.
At least one of those I'm right about, I think.
You're a dog.
I don't care. I don't own anything purple. I own one purple thing. I'm just saying. Out of those 5, I think one, at least, someone has to agree with somewhere. So.
No.
Okay.
You know what? Purple. Even though I'm a Laker, purple's not my thing.
See? It's just not. It's you love it or you hate it. I've never liked it.
It's a royalty color, though.
Yeah. Well, I'm a peasant. I'm one of the people. You know what I mean? Part of that 99%. I just can't relate. Okay. So I wanted to talk about what the NFL draft meant for Sam Darnold before we start talking about the draft. Coming up in about 10 minutes. Pro Football Focus lead draft analyst Trevor Sikkema is going to join us, and we've got a lot of questions for Trevor about all these new picks. I think it's obvious, Bump, in looking back at the draft, and even while we were watching, that if you were Sam Darnold, you were going, Gray Zabel at 18 overall, let's go, John.
Let's get it.
Oh, a brand new tight end, I'm loving it. Oh, adding to that defense with Nick Emmanwori. Okay, I see you, Mike. I see you. What do you mean, Jalen Milroe? And then that's when things stopped. What kind of pressure is on Sam? I mean, I feel like this is the first time in a while that we'll be talking about a quarterback controversy, even though it's very much and very clearly Sam's job to lose. This is not going to be handing the reins to Jalen. That's not what this is. But I think there's a crazy amount of pressure on him that we're only just now getting to.
There's pressure on him because of what he did last year. Because he got that bag, $37 million, because last year he showed that he can play in this league. 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions. Going into that season, it was JJ's team. Sam, you're just there to be the backup. If we need you, you go out there and just keep us competitive. So not only did he keep them competitive, man, they were contenders for a little bit.
Yeah.
So for the first time, he put together a season that warrants expectation. 3 seasons with the Jets. He had 1 season of 2,800, 17, and 15. 1 season of 3,000, 19, and 13. And then his last season, 2,200, 9, and 11. None of those seasons say, look, you're the guy, and we're going to need you to produce. He goes to Carolina, 2,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. 1,100 yards, 7 and 3. All of that, and then you get to 2024, 35 and 12. So he did this to himself, actually. He did this. He made people believe that he was worthy of $37 million and can be a leader of an organization and make a push for a playoff run. But that's a pressure that any quarterback who wins has to deal with. You show up to work every single day, and people expect you to lead the charge. And now he has a different kind of pressure with Milroe. It's not a pressure as if Milroe's going to take his job. No, I don't think that. I think Sam Darnold can go out there and toss 15 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, and for the most part, he's still going to be the guy that first year because Milroe has to develop in some other ways. But it's a pressure with Milroe there that says, if you can't get this done, we got a guy here who will explore the options of allowing him to be the guy maybe that following year because we don't have to pay you that next year. So it's a pressure that he did to himself by being a baller last year, and then a pressure that the Seahawks applied by drafting this young quarterback.
It's just so fascinating because last year he didn't need to worry about falling off because he didn't fall off. That team kept winning. They ended up with 14 wins. I think they're winning a season, I want to say since the 90s. He didn't have his 2 worst games until the final 2 games of the season, right? But more than that, J.J. McCarthy couldn't have played. No one was chasing him because there wasn't like a healthy, suitable starter in that room to really push him for time. So again, he didn't have to look over his shoulder at all because he was playing well. But there wasn't that kind of, well, we can always use this guy.
Right.
So what's changed about this year for Sam is not only setting a new bar for yourself, which is a great thing, but it's that there are people there. And I don't think that this team is looking to Drew or looking to Jalen as usurping Sam anytime soon. I don't think that's really on their mind. But that's another key difference between this quarterback room he's in and the one he was in last year.
Yeah, it's different, man. And this is what pressure does. I mean, you guys all know this, right? It makes diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds, right? What is Sam going to do with this type of pressure? The first time he felt this in the NFL was in 2018 when he was the rookie and the Jets drafted him, 3rd overall or something like that? That's a pressure that, that's a privilege. Now, this one is one that you've created yourself because you went several years with absolutely nothing. And now you are the starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. And that is the scariest thing, I think, for a lot of us who are watching this team because we just don't know for sure. We think he can. We think if you surround him with the right pieces, he can. We think that the O-line protects and Kubiak understands him, he can. But he's still got a lot to prove. And when you get paid, I know it's chump change compared to what these quarterbacks are getting, but you're getting $37 million. People are going to want results right now. It's no longer 2018 where you're a rookie and they're going to give you a year or 2 to figure it out. It's perform now, or we drafted a guy who can maybe do it next year.
All right, so those are the questions, the pressure that Sam Darnold is going to be facing thanks to this new draft class. Let's talk about the pieces of this new draft class with Pro Football Focus lead draft analyst Trevor Sikkema. He joins us next.
Brock and Salk. Straight from Pierre, South Dakota, Brock. Gray, good morning. How are we feeling today?
Super excited to be a part of the Seahawks and the team that they do.
Are you still growing? Could we see a bigger Gray Zabel at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, big thing about gaining weight is just steaks and squats. That's all you got to do to put on some pounds.
Steaks and squats.
Well, and you could go from bush light to butt heavy if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. A few extra carbs.
Brock and Salk, morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Rick Riz here for the Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington's Improve Your Play program. Many of our local youth sports teams need help with field enhancements, training, and equipment. Local Pella owners Keith Dashafy and Luke Wilson are stepping up to donate $5,000 to 2 deserving teams. We need your help finding them. Head to seattlesports.com/play to nominate a deserving team in need. Let's help our local youth improve their play this year with Pella Windows and Doors of Western Washington. Contest and rules at seattlesports.com/play.
Hey, Brock Ewart here with my buddy Dave Taylor from First Mark Insurance. So glad, so thankful that Molly and I made the call. Had heard so many First Mark Challenge victories, we needed to take that challenge. What does happen from your perspective when that caller, when that email, when that person reaches out to you for a First Mark Challenge victory?
That's a great question. So there's several steps we go through in the process. The first step is we're going to gather information, find out all we can about that client and what their needs are. The next step is we will go out to the market. We have dozens and dozens of carriers that will compete for the business. At the end of that process, we will then bring those findings back to the customer, show them what we found, and who the eventual winner was in that competition.
And it may be who they're with.
It might be, yes. And sometimes that's the best we can do is recommend they stay where they are, but maybe modify a few coverages to put them in a better position.
So go take that challenge today. Go be the next First Mark Challenge victory. It costs you nothing, and they will be there with you every step of the way. FirstMarkInsurance.com. FirstMarkInsurance.com.
The team at Mazda of Everett is always working hard to make your experience with their team exceptional. Mazda of Everett has over 700 new Mazdas in stock, tariff-free. It's the perfect time to buy a new Mazda. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett on Highway 99 in Everett or shop online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click the Mazda of Everett price where pre-tariff pricing still applies. Shop their tariff-free selection at Mazda of Everett.
Heading to the ball game? Don't mess with traffic and pricey parking fees. Make it easy and ride the bus. It's affordable and convenient. No stress, no hassle. And plenty of time to grab a hot dog before first pitch. Community Transit makes riding the bus fun, easy, and affordable. You save money on parking, and kids under 18 ride for free. See where they can take you and plan your trip today. Go to Community Transit at ctgo.org/home run.
Hey, Green Gobbler here. So you've got a clogged drain in your bathroom. Water in the sink's overstaying its welcome. You're spitting today's toothpaste on top of yesterday's toothpaste. You hope that it go away. Yeah, clogs don't just go away. I make them go away. I'm Green Gobbler, the only clog dissolver you need. I'm bleach-free, safe for your pipes, and I work. Guaranteed or your money back. Because I never met a clog that was gonna unclog itself. Green Gobbler. Let the gobbler get it.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
Comcast Business is celebrating Small Business Month by giving you a $1,000 small business bonus when you switch to a qualifying gig speed package from the company with over 99.99% network reliability. Just imagine the thousands of possibilities of a $1,000 prepaid card. Like possibility number 1, company merch for staff. Styling. Or possibility number 24, the latest software, upgrade. Or possibility number 192, new equipment powered by gig speeds. Or possibility number 555, a 3D printer. Rapid prototyping, anyone? Switch to Comcast Business for over 99.99% network reliability, advanced cybersecurity, and now get started with a $1,000 small business bonus. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
And 6/22/25. New customers only with 2-year agreement. Other restrictions apply.
This is Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app.
KIRO AM Seattle. KIRO FM HD2 Tacoma. Home of the Seahawks, Mariners, and everything Seattle sports.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
Seattle Sports Snapshot.
The Mariners are winners of 8 series in a row. Never mind that series finale. We're all going to pretend it didn't happen because they still won the series. They're going to look for a 9th beginning with a series opener against the A's tonight. Then they're back home Friday to open a series against the Blue Jays, and later, midweek, the Yankees.
Snapshot, brought to you by Miller Lite. When it's game time, it's Miller time. From the Quantum Fiber Studio,
this is Bump and Stacy
on Seattle Sports.
Streaming through the Seattle Sports app and at seattlesports.com.
Now, here are your hosts, Michael Bumpus and Stacy Ross.
Here we go now. Trevor Sikkema, lead NFL draft analyst for Pro Football Focus, joining us right now on the Emerald Queen Casino Sportsbook Hotline. And Trevor, we have a lot of really exciting names to cover for you with the Seahawks. There have been a couple drafts Seattle's had where I've thought, okay, let me quickly Google this person and figure out a bit more about them. But this was a draft where it felt like each name that came in, not only was I excited, but I knew that there were analysts we'd had on who were. What draft pick for Seattle to you was most intriguing?
Well, you know, when I look at this draft, this had one of my highest grades. It had a top 10 grade for me. I gave it an A, and it's hard for me to complain about really anything that they did. I love the attack that they had overall in this offseason. I like the way that they supplemented things with this draft. I think Gray Zabel is sort of the obvious one, but there's another name that I do want to talk about here. I like Gray Zabel at the top because I don't think they overthought it, right? And for a long time, he was a common pick for the Seahawks in the first round because they need an interior offensive lineman so badly. But for me, he's the exact one that you want to get because he's a great building block for the future. Like, he can play center for you, he can play left guard, he can play right guard. So as you continue to fill out that offensive line, Gray Zabel can really fill in on any of those spots. So if you happen to have a spot where, like, oh, okay, we have the opportunity to get this starting caliber center, like whether it's a couple months from now, a year from now, whatever it is, you can move Zabel to one of those guard spots if he's going to start out at center, and vice versa. So I really like that for them. But I love the Elijah Arroyo selection for them in the second round. This is a player who I think is a fantastic wide receiver version of what you would want from a tight end. He is somebody who's one of the best receiving tight ends that we had in college football this past year. Been on sort of a winding college football journey, coming back from an ACL injury 2 years ago, really just acclimating himself last year. But I think that he is excellent for exactly what they want. And you look at JSN and Cooper Kupp already on this team, they needed big receivers, and not just receivers at the tight end spot. I think that Elijah Arroyo is talented enough where you could play him as an X. You could play him on the outside, like on the line of scrimmage. And so that, to me, is the most intriguing pick and the one that I'm the most excited about because he fills a lot of different receiving needs that they would want from that big receiver role.
Yeah, Trevor, I'm with you 100% when it comes to the Arroyo pickup. The question that I get from texters and listeners is that, but can he block, though? He's a tight end, right? You want to move him outside as well and play him out there. What's he like in the trenches?
Yeah, I think that he's a decent pound-for-pound blocker, and I think that what you like about him is when you get some of these new-age tight ends that kind of come through and they're labeled as those receiving tight ends, a lot of them will be like, 6'3", 6'4", 235 pounds, 240 pounds. And so at that point, you're sitting here and you go, okay, well, they're a great receiver, but you're sacrificing what they could be as a blocker and on the line of scrimmage. For Arroyo, at least, like, blocking isn't his calling card. Like, him being a receiver is his calling card, but he is a legit 6'5", 250 pounds. So even just by nature of this is how he is built, he is stronger than most receiving tight ends that you would talk about nowadays. So is he going to be somebody that you consider that sixth offensive lineman that you have attached to the line of scrimmage? No. But pound for pound, I think he is a good blocker, and you at least have faith in his frame that he's built like a guy who can play on the trenches.
Trevor, I wasn't shocked to see the Seahawks take a quarterback, but I thought it would be something like mid-day 3 and Kyle McCord is there, or it would be a name that we knew but also kind of understood was just the Seahawks adding to that room. I was not expecting not only Milroe to be there where they took him, but for them to take Milroe. How do you like that fit?
Well, I love it for Seattle, and if you go back to middle of the college football season, there was a point in time where I had Jalen Milroe as my QB1 in this draft class. Now, that's not to say that he was perfect as a player, but you just love so much of what he brings to the table. You love so much of his potential and what he could be. And this year, I thought that he showed flashes of that. Now he regressed a little bit in the accuracy areas, the ball placement areas, some decision making as the season went on. But in Seattle, the best part is, you don't have to ask him to start right away. You have Sam Darnold there, and Darnold, given his contract, is probably there for at least 2 years unless something goes catastrophically wrong. And it's within that time that you could hopefully get with Milroe and allow him to just continue to be more consistent and work on his throwing motion, his accuracy, his ball placement, his chemistry with the guys that are in there, and really get a good feel for that offense. And so taking Milroe where they did, I had him as my 100th ranked player when it was all said and done, and they get him at 92. So that's exactly around the range where I felt like he would have been in terms of a big board, a quarterback tax. You figure he goes a little bit higher than that, but I love the investment, especially with the fact that they had those 3 picks before them, right? If they didn't draft a Gray Zabel and Nick Emmanwori and Elijah Arroyo, maybe they don't feel comfortable enough to take that long-term chance on Milroe when they did. But it just shows a really good offseason from them and a really good draft strategy and a draft plan. So I'm a big fan of Milroe, and I really do like this landing spot.
Yeah, I like Milroe too. I think obviously he brings something different to this offense, and I wonder how often we're gonna see him during the regular season. But my question is for Emmanwori. I think he's a fascinating player too. This rookie camp just passed this weekend. We're hearing he played some nickel, some safety, to even maybe tried him on the outside a little bit. Where do you think he fits best in this defense?
I think he's probably best as more of a home-based safety type of a player, because when I watched his film, there were times when I really loved his downhill speed and how he could tackle, but sometimes I felt like the physicality parts of his game were a little hit and miss, and it's just not something that he loved to do. And instead, I saw more of a passion from him in what he was able to do in deep coverage and free safety roles, and really just being a rangy player back there, covering a ton of space, having that unique size, having that unique athleticism. So I do feel as more of a coverage player, that's sort of where you're getting the most out of his strength. Now, I'll say this about Emmanwori, and I think it's what's important about something that we tried to do, and we're starting to do it at PFF this year. We had team-specific top 100 big boards for every team in the NFL. And if you just look at my overall big board, Emmanwori was ranked 67th on my big board. So I thought that, especially where he was picked at number 35 with them trading up to get him, I thought that would be a reach compared to my big board. But he was ranked in the 20s for Seattle's specific big board, because there are spots where I'd be worried about Emmanwori going to. He really needed to go to a place where the defensive mind was somebody who was very creative, knew what to do with him, was going to be pliable in where he was going to let him end up. And what better defensive mind than Mike Macdonald? I mean, he's one of those preferred spots. And so there's a lot of teams where I would have had Emmanwori, ranked in the 60s, 70s, 80s on a team-specific big board. But for Seattle, I have a lot of faith in what they're going to be able to do with him. We obviously saw what Macdonald was able to do with Kyle Hamilton. Now, I don't think that Nick Emmanwori is a Kyle Hamilton type of player, but that versatility and the willingness to play that guy as a free safety, as a strong safety, as a nickel defender, as so many different things, it makes me feel as though, okay, whatever Emmanwori will be best at in the NFL, Seattle's going to figure it out. So it's a little bit high in terms of what I just overall thought of the player. But again, a landing spot that I liked because I think they've got a good understanding of where they could play him.
John Schneider and Mike Macdonald, for that matter, talked about their key goal this offseason, and that was getting back to running the ball. There are individual things that they obviously want to improve on with this team. I mean, it feels like fans rightfully could not stop talking about the offensive line. But this is a team that wants to get back to a physical brand of offense. Last year, as you know, Trevor, they were near the bottom of the league in rushing yards per game, but they had two pretty talented backs in the backfield. Added with Damian Martinez, they brought in a fullback, Robbie Oots. Obviously, they have Kenny Mack, who, people haven't seen a ton from. Tell me about your outlook, maybe not specifically for what you think Seattle can do in the run, but just with the weapons that they have.
Yeah, I think that it's a much improved group. It really is. Or at least if you're going to make some changes, I like the changes that they were able to make, right? I mean, moving on from DK Metcalf is a big deal. The same with moving on from Tyler Lockett, right? I mean, those are guys who have been mainstays for you. But getting the second-round pick back, feeling good about it, getting a guy like Elijah Arroyo in there, and then you're signing a guy like Cooper Kupp, right? And I think the backfield, man, when you look at the guys that they have with Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and now you're throwing in Damian Martinez, I mean, that's a lot of beef. I mean, that's a lot of speed to power conversion that you have with all three of those guys. And so very clearly they have a theme, they have a tone that they want to set with their running back room. When they hand the ball off to one of these guys, they want them to basically be able to do everything. They don't want size or speed or strength or any of those categories to be a deficiency for them. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that getting Damian Martinez where they did in the 7th round is an absolute steal. Damian Martinez would have been somebody who I would have considered somewhere in the mid-round, late 3rd round, early 4th round, and to get him in the 7th, I think is really good stuff from him. Now, when it comes to the offensive line, yeah, the offensive line has to be a lot better, but I think it naturally gets better with Grace Abel in there. I think he's perfect for Clint Kubiak's outside zone rushing system. I think the same with Bryce Cabledew from Kansas. He is somebody who, played offensive tackle for them, but I think his home is probably more as a guard on the interior, and so I think that works exactly to what the Seahawks really need and want to do moving forward. And then, like you said, Robbie Oots, who's sort of this fullback, tight end, lead blocker, just type of utility player that they're able to get to help make their running game a lot better in 2025. And so if that was their goal, I think they did a really good job establishing that.
Damian Martinez, I was watching him at Oregon State. I described him as just a patient type of runner. And I think that skill set should fit this outside zone type of scheme. But when you had Oots in there, like, how do you think the identity of this offense has changed now that you did pick up another running back who I think is going to apply pressure? You do have Oots out there. Let me change my question. What kind of message do you think Mike Macdonald is sending to his team and his division with just the way that they've kind of constructed this offense as far as personnel and the coaching staff?
Yeah, I think it's a really good attitude. And again, you go back to the Oregon State days that you were talking about there with Damian Martinez. They were running a lot of mid and outside zone stuff when he was at Oregon State before he was at Miami. I felt like at Miami they were running a lot more power concepts, a lot more between the tackles, a lot more inside zone. And so I think some people might look at Martinez and say, okay, well, is Seattle really going to be a good fit? But he is if you go back to the Oregon State days. And so, throwing Robbie Utes in there, every team wants a great lead blocker. You want to be able to establish things on the early downs on first and second down. And when you do that, you get a little bit heavier in your personnel, whether that's having an extra back in the backfield in 21 personnel with him being a fullback, with the I formation or offset I or something like that. Or, you could have him be off the line of scrimmage as a wing back in split zone flow formations. And so either way, I think he's a really good lead blocker, and he's somebody who can come behind the line of scrimmage and set the tone on an unblocked defensive end, or he's somebody who can, take on a linebacker if you're making a run around where the tackle is, or he's somebody who I think has the athleticism to get out to the sideline and be a lead blocker for you to spring one of these guys up for a long run up the sideline if they're able to block it up well. So to me, it really just shows that when you're drafting this guy and when you're continuing to fortify the offensive line, they're not going to be afraid to run the football in any and all situations. And to agree with you guys, I think that that's something that got away from them last year. They needed to be much better at that, and I think they will be in 2025.
Again, talking with Pro Football Focus lead draft analyst Trevor Sikkema. Just a couple more minutes with you, Trevor. And I know that we brought you on to talk about this year's draft picks for Seattle, but you know a lot, obviously, about former draft picks for Seattle, having researched those classes. And so I wanted to ask, maybe is there still a relatively young guy on this team, a Devin Witherspoon, Christian Haynes, Byron Murphy, anyone like that, where you go, I know that there's more there. This was a guy that you had some pretty solid opinions on in the draft, and maybe fans you think haven't seen the very best of him yet.
Yeah, I mean, Byron Murphy's absolutely an easy one to call out. He's sort of just acclimating to things last year, coming back from injury, so he's in and out of the lineup a little bit. But when he is in there, I truly think that he could be anything from a head-up nose technique, a zero technique player for you. You could put him as a three technique. I actually like his potential the most as a three technique defensive tackle. And I know he played a lot of nose tackle at Texas, but man, I think this guy can get off the ball really well. I think he's got great leverage to him. I think that this could be, or the next 2 years specifically, could be big time impact season from Byron Murphy, who I think is an incredibly talented football player. I obviously think the same with Devon Witherspoon. He was a top 5 overall player for me a couple of years ago when he was coming through, and I know that they've seen some impact from him as a nickel defender and as an outside defender, but man, you talk about chess piece type of players. Devon Witherspoon is absolutely one of those guys, and I think when you have a secondary that includes, a Witherspoon, a Nick Emmanwori, players like that, the possibilities are endless about where I think that you can line these guys up. So I think the world of Witherspoon. I think even for the good moments that we have seen from him, I think that he's got even more in the tank. I think he is an all-pro caliber type of player, and the best is yet to come for him as well.
The wideout spot, JSN, you got MVS, and obviously you have Cooper Kupp as well over there. I'm trying to figure out the real potential of this group because I think that JSN has number one type of qualities in him, but you just don't know what you don't know. What do you think of that group so far going into the season, and do you think JSN has another 1,100, 1,200-yard season in him?
Yeah, I do, and it's going to be interesting to see, what kind of passing offense that they run, because in New Orleans, when Kubiak was sort of dealing with the personnel that they had there, especially when a lot of their big guns were healthy, it was a lot of vertical stuff. Chris Olave is very much a vertical receiver. Rashid Shaheed's the same way. And Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I know, comes over from New Orleans, but he had a bunch of success with Kubiak when he was there last year as well. And a lot of this stuff was it was very vertical in their offense. But when you look at Seattle, Smith and Jigba, Cooper Kupp, both of those guys are more sort of when I say quick hit players, it always kind of sounds like an insult. And I don't mean it for that to be that way, but when you look at Sam Darnold, keeping Sam Darnold on schedule is the way that you maximize what he's able to do. Make him very confident pre-snap, having that accuracy of where to know where the primary read is going to be, the ball coming out of his hands very quickly. And so all of that, I think, goes into their offense being maybe a little less vertical than what Kubiak's offense was with the New Orleans Saints, but I think the great offensive coordinators are the ones who can adapt and they can understand who they have on their team. And so to me, I do think that Jackson Smith-Njigba has another, 1,100-yard season to him. I think he's a really good player. And with him and Cooper Kupp, if those are going to be the two main guys that you have there, and then you could throw in Elijah Arroyo and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I think those two players will be able to stretch the field for you. But Kupp and Smith-Njigba, if they're going to get the majority of the targets, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a methodical offense for you, especially if they're trying to run the ball a lot more. It's going to be longer drives. It's going to be sustained drives. They're going to hold on to the ball, and I guarantee you that the time of possession is going to be a lot higher for this Seahawks team. And maybe that makes them a little bit less dynamic, but it'll make them a little bit more controlled in what they do as well, which they probably prefer.
Lead draft analyst for Pro Football Focus, Trevor Sikkema. Trevor, you are an encyclopedia of football knowledge, and we are always so grateful to have you on. Thanks for the time.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks, guys. Anytime.
Let's get to 4-down territory.
This is 4-down territory, going inside the game with former Seahawks and Coug wide receiver Michael Bumpus.
First down, what NFL rookie just isn't getting the hint?
He's not getting it, man. And I know he's a baller. He was picked top 3. But Abdul Carter.
The second you said.
Come on, man.
Okay.
All right, first you asked for number 56. We all know LT, one of the greatest football players of all time, wore that uniform or that jersey. He says, nah, man, start your own deal. I like the way that LT kind of phrased it. In his head, he's more like, nah, man, that's my number. But he's telling them, hey, start your own legacy. You do your thing. So then he wore 11 in college, right? So now he's asking Phil Simms, can I wear the number 11? I'm like, Abdul, you're not getting it. And Phil almost let him wear it. But then his wife, his kids, and his son were like, nah, Dad, like, that's your number. It's retired. You are second when it comes to passing yards in Giants history. Second all-time in touchdowns. 2-time Super Bowl champion. Super Bowl MVP. Like, let's just keep it. Let's keep it. It's yours. It's retired. If Russell's jersey was retired, it'd be a totally different conversation. But his is retired. He's one of the greatest Giants quarterbacks of all time. So, look, I feel like that number should be offered to you. Like, Michael Irvin offers the number to the top wideout for the Cowboys, Dez Bryant and CeeDee Lamb. They didn't go asking for it. It's kind of like a thing now. Michael Irvin says, all right, you got my blessing. You go ahead and do it. Just, Abdul, man, just start your own thing.
It's weird.
Get
like,
another number. It's all good.
Yeah, why not just take another number? Like, why do you have to do this thing where you've got to, like, only wear... It's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know that young people use this anymore, but it's like being a biter a little bit. Remember back in the day?
Yeah. Stop biting.
What you're doing. Second down. Who's a UDFA you feel brings a special skill set to the teams? Like Liam Neeson. He has a special set of skills.
Well, this is... I don't think people really know about this young man. His name is Nick Emmanwori. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. But I'm going through the undrafted free agents. I told a listener on Friday that I was going to come back and give them some analysis on some of these guys. He's 6'5", 266 pounds. He went to University of Minnesota. He only had 14 receptions, all right, last year. Only had 14 receptions. Might have just had that in his career, honestly. But the reason why I like him is because he is an old school type of tight end. I was listening to Brady this morning. I think he mentioned that they gave him $25,000 in signing bonuses. You don't give undrafted free agents that type of money unless you anticipate him being on this team. And he's old school. He's a guy that is going to be physical in the box. People were asking about Arroyo. Can he be physical? And we talked to Bob, and he says, yeah, he thinks he can be physical. But this is all this guy is going to do. He is going to beat you up. He does have a few touchdowns in his career. His hands are okay. They're not great, but this is a guy that bring a physicality to the run game that I think Kubiak and Mike Macdonald want. So look out for Nick out of Minnesota.
You said tight end, right?
Yep.
It just keeps me wondering. When you started talking about the signing bonuses, which I didn't know about, I'm like, in my mind going, okay, so if he's here, Varner's here, Arroyo's here, like you just start going like, what does this mean for Noah Fant?
Yeah, man, and Fant's getting paid too,
Yeah.
so we'll see.
Third down. What rookie do you feel possesses some Rick Woolen type potential?
Yeah, this one's fun, and he's an undrafted free agent too as well. Tyrone Broden, 6'5", 194, ran like a 4.3 or something like that. He only had 15 receptions, 197 yards, and 1 touchdown last year. I saw those numbers and had to watch a film and ask myself, what do they see in him, right? Because the numbers ain't numbering. And you put on the film, and he has that type of Rick Woolen potential. One, he's 6'5". I like the way his hips move at the top of his routes. It seems like he's just learning how to move people and how to fight through contact. When you're 6'5", it's going to be tough for you to run up the seam and not have that linebacker or safety kind of knock you off your line. You got to find ways to move them and be good with your hands and your leverage. it pops every now and then. He'll show it, and I go, oh, there it is. There it is. It just seems like he hasn't gotten the reps to fully understand how to do it consistently and understand, like, you are 6'5". Your torso is big. People are going to jam you and push you there. But when he does it right, it is beautiful. Gets inside, stems, gets vertical, snaps it across the field, uses his hands when he catches the football. This is one of those that watch during preseason. Keep your eyes on this young man because he has that potential. You can just tell he hasn't gotten many reps at really being a true receiver. So it's going to be up to the Seahawks and that coaching staff, like, to get him right, because you don't just find 6'5" running 4.3s everywhere. And that's, I think, what attracted them to Rick Woolen as well, even though he was so raw at the cornerback position, is you look at the physical talents that he has and you tell yourself, we can do something like with that. We just got to mold him up a bit. I can't wait to see what he does.
4th down. Seattle Times Seahawks reporter Bob Condotta joined us to begin the hour. Anything stand out from that conversation?
Yeah, I like the way he talked about how Milroe just answered questions, because I'm not going to say any names, but there have been quarterbacks here to where they get in front of the mic, and I go, you're going to be in the huddle with this type of swag, with this type of confidence or lack of confidence. There has to be something about the quarterback that makes you want to lock in and pay attention. There has to be something that galvanizes the crew and the guys when you're in the huddle and stuff. And I think, obviously, you got to have the talent. You got to understand the playbook, but you got to be able to lead. And Milroe comes from a military background. His mom and his dad were in the military. So you feel like he has that structure. So listening to Condotta talk about him and other people this past weekend talk about how he just carries himself, I'm like, cool. Step number 1, look and feel like a quarterback. Now work on your game. So I thought that was important because you got to fake it till you make it. And until you know that playbook, man, you got to get the guys to believe in you. It feels like Milroe's doing that.
That's one of those, like, wildly, not necessarily underrated. Every single football fan listening right now would be able to say, well, yeah, that's obviously important. But something that, like, we certainly don't talk about sometimes is this really delicate balance where quarterbacks have to say exactly the right thing in the mic. And be incredibly professional and never mess up and never, it's such a delicate line to walk, but then also command a huddle in a way that's respected by lots of different personalities. It's such a difficult job. Like, there's more than just the pressure that's on it when you're, breaking the huddle and you go out to actually take the snap that makes it the hardest job in sports. There's your middle management.
You are.
And you're responsible for not just every play, but so many people and what they think about you. And man, sometimes there's guys too, that part of it where you'll have analysts and experts saying, oh, I don't really know, I don't think he's got it. And then you'll talk to people in the locker room and they'll be like, they love this guy. Like, they just love him. And that's what people were saying about Jalen Hurts for a while. For all the drama we talk about with him and A.J. Brown, like, for a while before people thought he was, pretty solid, they were like, this guy commands respect.
Players will follow someone with less talent if they just believe in you.
Yeah.
They'll work with you like, okay, I like this dude. I like what he's bringing to the table. He has that grit, that fire in him. He might not throw the prettiest ball.
Yeah.
He might not make all the greatest decisions, but we're going to work with him because we believe in him.
Let's see what's on tonight.
What's on tonight with Bump and Stacy, brought to you by Caesars Sportsbook at Muckleshoot. Now, here's what's on tonight.
The Mariners open up a series still on the road against the A's. You got a 3-game series here, and then you're heading back home. As a reminder, what I need to know coming up at 45 after. Get your questions in now, 866-979-3776.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but I feel like I should have gone a little sooner, but I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like, I kind of had like an NFL, it's personal list, so like, it's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
It's time for a girls' night out back. Australia's Thunder from Down Under Temptation Tour is hitting Galaxy at Muckleshoot, June 5th through 7th. Tight abs, ripped bodies, and moves so hot you'll need a cold shower after. Get tickets now at muckleshootcasino.com and feel the thunder. June 5th through 7th, only at Muckleshoot Casino Resort.
Hey, Brock Hewitt here for my friends at PCF Group, or People Come First Construction Group, and that's exactly what they did when we made the call a couple years ago. We wanted to redo our outdoor space, wanted to add a deck, an outdoor living, a television, and a kitchen, and PCF Group, wow, they more than delivered. And if you're interested in building a stunning outdoor area like we did, I cannot recommend them enough. Reach out before the good weather arrives, and their schedule, well, it's going to fill up. So whether you're looking for a complete outdoor living space or a very specific project like an underdeck ceiling, deck, patio cover, railings, PCF has you covered. Design now and pay later. In fact, get 12 months, no interest and no payments, and up to $6,000 off and a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Request a complimentary design and estimate consultation at 425-629-8476 or project ideas. Explore photos at pcfgroup.com. That's 425-629-8476.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV, RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the lake or clean out your closet?
RV wins!
Putting the dishes away or taking the RV camping?
RV wins!
Cleaning the fridge or taking a trip to the beach?
RV wins!
You might want to clean the fridge real quick because, mold.
We clean out the fridge, then take the RV out.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates and other insurers, not available in all states and situations.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See dealer for full details and disclaimer.
The Bump and Stacy Show is powered in part each day by the caring and compassionate team at Pendergast Law Personal Injury Lawyers. Go to pendergastlaw.com.
You think your home is pretty cool until that summer heat hits, and suddenly your home isn't that cool. In fact, it's hot. Air conditioning from Washington Energy Services can help. Stay cool this summer with our biggest spring savings event ever. This month only, take up to $2,500 off an energy-efficient Bryan cooling system with exclusive Washington Energy rebates. Ensure your home is always the cool house with air conditioning from Washington Energy Services. Contact us today for a free estimate.
The team at Mazda of Everett is always working hard to make your experience with their team exceptional. Mazda of Everett has over 700 new Mazdas in stock, tariff-free. It's the perfect time to buy a new Mazda. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett on Highway 99 in Everett or shop online at mazdaofeverett.com. Click the Mazda of Everett price where pre-tariff pricing still applies. Shop their tariff-free selection at Mazda of Everett.
So I formed Davis Law Group about 30 years ago, and I would get, the same questions from people about what to do in the case of an accident. Do you need a lawyer? To the point where I decided that I would at least write a book which would answer the common questions that I would receive as a lawyer. Once I wrote my first book, it proved to be hugely popular. I decided to write then a series of books in different accident cases so that we could really teach people about their rights, how to protect them, and how to decide on whether they need a lawyer and what lawyer to hire. I've found in my career that having a client that is educated and knowledgeable about their particular type of case really helps the client and also usually ends up making the case or the claim more successful. To get your free copy of any of my Washington accident books, visit WashingtonAccidentBooks.com.
This hour is brought to you by Mazda of Everett.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio, you're listening to Bump and Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
The Mariners are raking. Why? That's how we started the show, and you guys have since sent in a lot of your theories. 866-979-3776. We're continuing that conversation. We've got a little bit of sound we didn't get to. Also, coming up in 15 minutes, it's What I Need to Know. Get your questions in to the Mac and Jacks text line, 866-979-3776. Bump, before I get to a cut about Edgar and his impact from Buster Olney, and this was from an interview we had with Buster last week, the most popular answer by far was either coaching Edgar or Dan and then playing as a team. So I think people felt like it feels like an entire effort, a complementary effort, and there's a feeling of wholeness to the approach, to the philosophy, to a couple different things. By far the two most popular answers from listeners on Saturday when I posted this. Is that what you feel? Is it play?
Man, I think it's you got to ride some waves, right? Players get hot, and we got to talk about how players get hot. In every sport, it's different, right? In baseball, where you fail more than you're going to succeed, hot looks a bit different. In football, for me, it's just catching everything thrown to me. A line assignment, everything else is correct. So when I think about these guys getting hot, I think of philosophy, them buying into the philosophy, and then having early success. Because once you have success and you're bought into everything that your manager, your hitting coach is telling you, then you're more likely to keep leaning into that. I'm going to lean into this because I'm having success doing this. But I think that you have to create an environment to where people trust and believe you. Now, these are all assumptions. I'm not obviously on the Mariners in the clubhouse or the dugout or whatnot, but there are some things that are common in sports. Like leadership matters. How was JP able to bounce back? One, he's healthy again, right? And I think health is big. Polanco, the same thing. But there's either a freeness in the way they're able to play, or they are so bought into what Edgar is whispering to them that they're good to go. Or it could just be another mental thing. Like when I get a new driver in golf, Stacy.
Okay.
New driver.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right. In my head, my swing is fixed. I'm going to bomb this ball 300 yards down the middle. And sometimes I do. We call that in baseball the torpedo bat. So maybe Cal got that torpedo bat, and mentally it just changed him. He knows I can miss because my miss is now the sweet spot. So there's multiple things, right? I'm joking about the bat, but I'm serious about the bat at the same time.
No, there is a mental thing because when I buy new workout clothes, eating healthy food tastes better.
It tastes way better.
Because you're like, but I'm active. I'm a gym girly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
With this new Nike sweatshirt I got. But sometimes all you need is that mental kick.
I'm saying there's something in the mental that clicks. It could be visual. It could be verbal. It could just be an environment. And it could be your health, too. So I think it's a combination of a whole bunch of things, man. But health being the big one is that these guys are healthy and they believe in their philosophy.
I know that we're introducing kind of a joking tone, but it is because there's an aspect of this that is not just multifaceted, where there are a lot of things at play, but also indescribable, where it may be for Jorge Polanco, health matters more, and for Julio, Edgar matters more, right? Like there could be just things factoring in differently to different degrees with different players. Buster Olney feels that Edgar's impact has been real.
If you go back to August 1st of last year, 82 games, basically half the season, the Mariners ranked second in the American League at all the key statistics: runs, home runs, WRC plus, stolen bases. The team that's ahead of them, the Yankees. And that was surprising to me. And part of the reason why I went back and looked at those numbers was because just talking with people about Edgar's impact as a hitting coach for the Mariners, I think it's real. Sometimes guys come in and they're a pitching coach, they're a hitting coach, they don't have much impact. But I think Edgar's had a real impact.
I think it's real, too. I'm still figuring out with Dan because it is a small sample size and it's a bigger role, right? Like you're the manager of this club, and I feel like there are real things at play, but I haven't talked to as many people about them. I have talked to someone in particular about Edgar's impact, and they're within the organization and had nothing but positive things to say about the impact he's had.
Right.
So that's something real. And they had an example of a player doing something differently that felt real, and you were seeing the outcome of it on the field. So that's something that you go, okay, hey, evidence, analysis, outcome, that's real impact. Now, these players have to perform, right?
Right.
Like you can look at last season and go, well, God, you had Jorge Polanco last year. You had J.P. Crawford last year. I know they weren't perfectly healthy, but like there's a lot of carryover and factors to last year's club. So what might be different this year? Maybe it's just players, this sounds stupid, but playing to the backs of their baseball cards. Like that's another theory that was introduced that I think is fair to bring up.
And, you know, I was told, I think you and I were both told that Edgar is not a big iPad guy, right? He's not a big, I think Hyphen was telling the story about how A-Rod was in the back of the plane talking to Edgar about his swing or whatnot. And they didn't have iPads back then, but he's trying to get some feedback. And Edgar gives him a couple nuggets and say, all right, now go on. Let me chill and do my thing. So that just tells me there that the communication that he has with his guys, it works, or it gives them at least the confidence. You know, and sometimes as coaches, like we lie to our players, man. I used to lie to my kids all the time. I'd have them think that they are the best team in all of Washington. And I know, look, we're not, but if we do X, Y, and Z, we have a chance to beat anybody. And you convince yourself of something. You convince your players of something. Not to say that Edgar's just lying to these dudes, but I guarantee he's convincing them that they are really better than what they are, because he knows if you just do my 5 pillars of swinging the bat, if you do these 5 things, your chances of hitting that ball are heightened, because he's not a technology data type of guy. To me, that probably has been the biggest shift, is that it feels like last year this team was driven by data, driven by the iPad, driven by all these stats, to where you go old school like Edgar, he's just telling you what to feel. The best swing coach I ever had in my life was just telling me what to feel. Not even having me watch film of my swing. It's just, this is what I want you to feel when you do this. And for me, that clicked. And so I'm assuming that Edgar's doing a lot of the field talk and not data and iPad type stuff.
Let's talk about what else might be at play here. The 253 says they're not striking out at the rate that they did last year. Putting the ball in play puts pressure on other teams. It's simple. And you're right. They are still striking out more than you'd like. And some players are striking out roughly the same as they were last year. So if you take Cal Raleigh, for instance, this time last year he had 35 strikeouts. This time this year he has 36. His strikeout rate is roughly the same, but he's putting the ball in play in different ways. So he has more extra base hits, for instance. Last year he had 0 through April. This year he has 4. Or excuse me, I'm reading that wrong. He has more extra base hits, 6 doubles. He's doing different things. He has 4 stolen bags this year, none last year. So he's getting on base, he's stealing bases, and he has some few more outcomes. Oh, and also he has more home runs. So the strikeout rate is roughly the same, and we've always talked about those games where you're like, I can deal with the strikeout. I can deal with a couple strikeouts, especially from power hitters. It happens. What kills you is when the outcome is strikeout or like maybe a single. Like when there's varied outcomes right now. You're getting some extra base hits. You're moving runners along. You're getting a sac fly. You're bunting. You know what I mean? Like you're doing things here. You have more than one outcome.
You know what's up? That barrel. Barrel rate is up.
Barrel rate.
You make solid contact. Good things happen, baby. Let's go.
All right, get your questions in 866-979-3776. What I need to know coming your way next.
Brock and Salk.
Straight from Pierre, South Dakota, Brock. Gray, good morning. How are we feeling today?
Super excited to be a part of the Seahawks and the team that they do.
Are you still growing? Could we see a bigger Gray Zabel at some point?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, big thing about gaining weight is just steaks and squats. That's all you got to do to put on pounds.
Steaks and squats. Well, and you could go from Bush Light to Bud Heavy if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. A few extra carbs.
Brock and Salk. Morning 6 to 10 on Seattle Sports. The app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
Do you have a car sitting around collecting dust? Turn that car into cash at Wayscar Ford in Auburn. Not only will they purchase your car today and pay you right up front, but it gets way better because once they resell your old car, they share 50% of their profit with you. I was just at Wayscar Ford getting service on my new Bronco. If you guys are regular listeners, you know just what happened there. I caught up with Mark, the GM. We were talking about the program. They've been sharing their profits with folks utilizing the program for several years now. In fact, there's a whole page on their website dedicated to photos of happy customers with those giant oversized checks. Mark said people take advantage of the program because it's so much easier than selling your car yourself. And you get way more money than if you were to just trade it in alone. Wayscar Ford offers a way to get a lot more money for your car without needing to go through the hassle of trying to sell it yourself, and that makes it a no-brainer. It's only at Wayscar Ford Isuzu in Auburn for over 100 years. WayscarFord.com.
Lake Washington Windows and Doors makes it easy to enjoy new windows with clean glass technology now and defer paying for them until 2026 with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Visit LakeWashingtonWindows.com.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. Superior Linen Service, 98 years providing logoed apparel, uniforms, floor mats, linens, and more. Give us a call. We answer the phone. Superior Linen Service. Visit SUPLinen.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
It's the World Fighting Championships at Emerald Queen Casino Event Center. Saturday night, May 10th. Experience the thrill of live MMA, boxing, Muay Thai, and kickboxing. Tickets at emeraldqueen.com. Don't miss this exciting mixed martial arts event. The World Fighting Championships, May 10th at Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest. 21 and older, need gambling help? Call 800-547-6133 or visit emeraldqueen.com.
Bonneville International radio station contests are open to participants 18 years of age or older that are residents of Washington State unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contests are not eligible to win unless the station otherwise specifies at its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 60 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. Full general contest rules are available on seattlesports.com or in person at the station during regular business hours.
Subscribe to the Seattle Sports YouTube page to find new and exclusive content from your favorite shows and personalities daily. Just head to YouTube, search Seattle Sports, and click subscribe.
Hey, fight fans, Bob Stelton here from Wyman and Bob. How'd you like to sit ringside with me at Excite Fight MMA? Seattle Sports is hooking up one lucky winner with 2 VIP tickets. That's right, you and a guest for an unforgettable night of fights on May 24th at Muckleshoot Casino Resort. These seats are right next to the cage, right next to me. You're not going to find them online. This is a one-of-a-kind experience. You can enter right now at seattlesports.com/win for your shot at a fight night you're never going to forget.
G-Scott here with former Seahawk Doug Baldwin. Tell us about Nourishing Champions.
We know the benefits for young people in sports, but we often don't think about the barriers, and one of those barriers is having proper nutrition. So Nourishing Champions, in partnership with Champions of Change and Safeway, is an effort to address those barriers so that our student athletes have what they need to excel both on the field and in the classroom.
High schools can apply for grants up to $25,000 from Nourishing Champions. Learn more at championsofchangefoundation.org/Nourishing Champions.
This is Matt Coker from West Coast Men's Health. Has Viagra stopped working for you? Do you hate the side effects? If you've taken Viagra for any length of time, you already know that pills are not the solution to ED. Here at West Coast Men's Health, we have a better approach to ED. Acoustic wave therapy creates blood flow circulation by safely removing the plaque in your arteries and restoring function naturally. No pills, no shots, no surgery. We can also treat Peyronie's disease. Our non-invasive treatment for ED is painless and highly effective. We have treated thousands of men just like you. Stop living with this problem and do something about it. Do yourself a favor, do your partner a favor, and call us today.
Call 206-519-6541. That's 206-519-6541. 206-519-6541. Online at westcoastmenshealth.com. HSA cards welcome and financing available.
From the Quantum Fiber Studio.
This is Bumpin' Stacy.
Weekdays 10 to 2.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Get your questions in for What I Need to Know, 866-979-3776. Someone said, what I need to know, would you rather shop for your dinner at the Dollar Tree or your fit at Ross?
Yo, I went to Ross 2 weeks ago, dog.
Yes.
What you talking about?
All of those Ross, TJ Maxx, Marshalls. You can find so much stuff. I'll go there just today.
You want to get fancy, go to Target. You want to get fancy.
That's like that's a bit different. That's new money. You know what I mean? 86, outfit at Ross, no question.
For sure.
866-979-3776. Did any of you engage in any childhood stealing from the neighborhood grocery mart, anything like that? Bump, how about you?
Yeah, I did. And I got scared straight. I stole twice in my whole life. I got away with it once, and the second time I got caught, and I was done. The first one, we were at Target. And remember, you used to buy CDs, and they came in like those big plastic things, so you couldn't just take them out.
Yeah.
So my buddy, he convinced me like, hey, I got a system that works. So we went there, we took some CDs. Remember when Harlem World was big, Mason, all them anyway. So we took them and put them in our backpacks. And he started freaking out and started walking all fast and stuff. And I kept my cool. I'm just walking,
Did he get caught?
walking. And they snatched him as soon as he walked out the front. And I walked by him like I did not know him. Like, So then I put the CDs, I stashed them, and I came back for him. I go, hey, man, like, what's going on? And it was like, weren't you with him? I go, yeah, but I don't have anything. They checked my bag and stuff. It was his birthday. I had to go back to his apartment where his mom was at and tell his mom, who didn't speak English, that her son is being booked right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when you didn't get caught.
When I did get caught, I was at Magic Mountain, and I took a Laffy Taffy. And they caught me.
One Laffy Taffy?
One. But they were like, you're a good kid. Why are you doing this? Like, man, I'm hungry, dog. I got like an hour left. I just want a Laffy Taffy.
One Laffy Taffy.
But so I got caught, but they let me go at the same time.
Did they let you keep the Laffy Taffy?
Oh, that was gone already.
Oh.
I was already eating it when they
so
snatched me
they
up.
were like, hey, you stole this.
Yeah.
And you're a good kid. You're throwing your life away. Curtis, did you ever steal anything, Matt? You guys thieves?
No.
No? Matt?
I was too much of a coward growing up. I never tried it.
I never did
rule
either.
follower,
Yeah, I was definitely a rule follower, a scaredy cat. Never stolen anything.
Can't fall down that life of crime.
Yep.
It's a slippery slope.
Yep.
Hey, I made these mistakes for you guys. So
Yeah,
you wouldn't do
exactly.
it.
So you could be a better role model for us so we could learn. What I need to know. Do you care about the Met Gala, and would any of you attend given the opportunity?
I don't care about it. Would I attend? Sure.
I like
Seems
to
like a
think
good
so.
party.
Yeah.
You know? Someone dress me up.
Why
like,
not?
Can someone sponsor my fit? Because I don't have the money to dress
Yeah.
the way they dress.
What's the best bougie pizza in the area?
DiGiorno.
No, that's not
Let's
bougie. It's bougie
That
frozen
is the
pizza.
most-
It is the best frozen
that's
pizza.
the least bougie.
No, Bump thinks mistakenly that the best pizza is DiGiorno pizza,
DiGiorno's
including
bomb.
all pizza and everywhere it comes from. And you think that's the best? The best bougie pizza is Pagliacci. It's incredibly
Never had it.
expensive, but
Can
it's
it
pretty
be
good.
bougie if it's part of a chain?
Yes, because it's pricey. It's really expensive. I think too expensive, but I'll pay for
California
it.
chicken. You ever had that?
California chicken.
Oh, California Pizza
California
Kitchen?
Pizza.
CPK?
CPK.
You ever had
It's at like
California
every
chicken?
mall in the world.
California chicken pizza? Bougie pizza. I don't know what's another bougie. I wasn't thinking boutique. I was thinking bougie, like it's high priced, overpriced.
Bub said Moto. I mean,
Moto, that's a good
I don't know
bougie
if
one.
they still do, But they used to have that wait list that was like months long.
They don't anymore, or it's not as bad. It's way easier to get now.
That was wild.
But Matt and I added ourselves to that wait list, and I waited 3 months.
We
to
had
get
some
a pizza.
Curtis, me, Brenna, and Nas, because they were for Hawks Live. They hooked us up. Matt, you were there too, weren't you? Nope. You were there for the moto? No?
No.
Bomb.
They was there the week before. It was
They brought it by the press box this last week during the Mariners. What game was it? Mariners-Angels game? Yeah, had some that day.
Nice.
What I need to know, a follow-up from last week, asking now to get a thoughtful answer. Bump, you win the Masters, becoming the first person to play both college and pro football to win the coveted green jacket.
Naturally.
What's on your menu for the Tuesday night champions dinner? Appetizer, first course, main course, dessert.
It's Thanksgiving is what's happening.
Wow.
It's going to be Thanksgiving.
I thought you were going to go DiGiorno's for everybody.
Yeah, that's the main course.
Thanksgiving. Hella mac and cheese.
Okay. I love that idea. What if you had to do a frozen-only Masters?
Frozen? Like frozen foods?
Yeah.
We got, what is it?
So
pizza
you need
pockets.
appetizer, pizza pockets.
Pizza
That
pockets.
keeps you from doing DiGiorno.
That's fine.
Okay.
We'll sacrifice DiGiorno.
Your first course.
First course, we're going to do a Hungry Man TV dinner.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Main course.
Main course, we are going
You got
to
Stouffer's
do
lasagna, mac and cheese.
No, can we do? We go on Hamburger Helper? Can we do Hamburger Helper?
I'll allow it.
You allow it. All that
Dessert.
sodium. All that sodium. We're gonna go with those old school ice cream cups from.
I was hoping you would say that. The like orange and vanilla ones.
Yeah, with the wooden
Or
spoons.
chocolate and vanilla.
Yeah, we going
Okay.
real hood.
Let's see. Someone said Stacy. The G is silent. Pagliacci.
Aren't you
You
Italian?
say it a little bit.
Aren't you Italian? Isn't that an Italian word?
Pagliacci.
Yeah, whatever.
Man,
I don't care.
your ancestors shaking their heads
I
right
know.
now.
I know.
Real G's move in silence, like Pagliacci.
Pagliacci.
Nice.
Pagliacci. This is a question for Curtis. Whoa, okay, we're not allowed. If you could take one player from the Mariners and start them for the Seahawks, any position to any position, who would you start and what position would they play? One player from the Mariners
okay.
and start them for the Seahawks.
Yeah, we're going to beef up that defensive line. Rowdy Tellez. There you go.
You want Rowdy
Either
at
that or
center?
like Julio as a wide receiver or something
I would
like
take
that.
Julio as a random tight end.
It's
I don't know if he's
it's funny
blocking for
because
you,
like the cross sport comparisons you don't really make, but like Julio size wise, I think
For
is
almost
bigger than
anything.
DK. I think he's bigger than him, like height and weight.
Yeah.
That's
which
crazy.
is wild to think about.
Yeah.
Oh no. I told my wife to randomly pick a horse for the Kentucky Derby and I'll bet on it. She picked the winner, Sovereignty, but I didn't place the bet. Should I tell her?
Yeah,
Because she's going to say, what'd we win?
exactly. Tell her.
I picked this horse. What'd we win, babe?
I don't
I'm
know.
so excited.
She hasn't brought it up yet. When was the Derby? On Saturday?
Yeah, it was about
Maybe-
48
And if she hasn't
hours
said
ago.
anything?
Yeah, maybe she forgot.
Okay,
Or
yeah.
didn't follow up.
Someone said Cal Raleigh at quarterback.
I mean, he does have the cannon. But can he throw?
No,
a
I would.
football?
I would. What's like?
Cal Raleigh's fullback.
Yeah, I don't know that
He's
I'd pick Cal at
oops.
quarterback. I get the thought process of being like the catcher,
Mm-hmm.
but you see some of those outfielders throw.
Yeah.
They got cannons.
Yeah, cannons.
Let's see what I need to know. Someone said the word bougie and pizza don't really belong in the mix. Let me tell you what.
Yeah.
I can find you right now a $50 pizza.
Yeah.
It's
For real.
absolutely a crossover. What I need to know. Since you don't like teal, would you like to see the Mariners go back to yellow and royal blue full time?
I love that.
I mean, it would be cool.
The Sundays, right?
Yeah,
What about the Grays, man? You like
they
the
got rid
Grays?
of them, right?
I know. You don't like the Grays?
Or did the Seahawks get rid of gray? Who got rid
No,
of
no, no.
gray?
They
Mariners
both
too.
got rid of gray.
Yeah,
I'm not particular about the grays.
I like the Grays.
It's because the Cougs
Maybe.
have a gray.
And the Dodgers were great too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're okay. I'll let them keep teal.
And
I'll allow
it's
it.
anthracite. Thank you for the Cougs. It's not Grays,
Sorry,
anthracite.
my bad.
It's okay.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you again to all of our guests. If you missed any of it, great stuff from Trevor Sikkema kicking off Hour 4 of the Bump and Stacy podcast. You've also got Mike Golic Jr. kicking off Hour 3. If you're going back to listen, and Bob Condotta with some rookie camp takeaways halfway through Hour 1. Wyman and Bob coming your way next.
Wyman and Bob, afternoons 2 to 7.
Nick Emmanwori is with us. Nick, how are you, man?
Super blessed, super grateful, but yeah, I feel like I should have gone a little sooner, but I landed in the right spot ultimately. Had a great connection with them, so I'm glad I ended up going to the Seahawks. But in my notes, in my phone, like I kind of had like an NFL, it's personal list. So like, that's a funny thing I for myself.
Dave Wyman and Bob Stelton, afternoons 2 to 7 on Seattle Sports, the app, YouTube, and your smart speaker.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Are you trying to buy a new home, or are you a local real estate agent seeking financing for a client? We're all tired of dealing with banks, credit unions, and endless guidelines. Wouldn't it be nice to go back in time when we had common sense lending? Hi, I'm Scott Rureka, CEO of Legacy Group Capital based in Bellevue. We are one of the largest local private portfolio lenders in Washington. We've helped thousands of home buyers and real estate investors reach their financial goals by leveraging the Legacy Common Sense borrowing platform. What that means is we lend our own money, we make our own decisions. If your deal makes sense, we'll get it done. Whether you're purchasing a new piece of real estate or refinancing an existing loan, bridge loans, construction, or regular home loan, it doesn't have to be as difficult as banks and lenders make it. If you're trying to grow wealth through real estate acquisition, come talk to the experts in private lending.
Call 425-635-4700 or LegacyG.com. Legacy Group Capital, your common sense lender. LegacyG.com.
When you have really good leaders, it makes it easy.
Gia arrived at Lee Johnson after 10 years at another dealership.
You know your job, but then you have people who you can rely on to help you with the big stuff that you need that support from. And I've gotten that every day with my service manager, with our assistant service manager, with even like our GM and our GSM. The way that, we're now on the showroom together, we are so close-knit just as a department. My service manager here, he's always open to teach you whatever you want to know. He just wants everybody to do good around him, and if somebody wants to learn something, I'm here to do it. And I've never had a service manager like that before. They're really good at promoting from within. That's one thing that I've learned from working here. I see people start out as a lot porter, and people work their way all the way up to being a general manager.
The LJ way is the Lee Johnson Auto family.
Did you know that your windows and doors are your main source of energy loss? At Lake Washington Windows and Doors, our windows with triple weather stripping and gasket seals are up to 25% more efficient than Energy Star standards. LakeWashingtonWindows.com, a name you can trust.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, crown disappearing. Hair loss for me was like identity theft. The solution? The simple one-day treatment that worked for me from Advanced Hair. And I'm just one of tens of thousands. Advanced Hair was recently crowned the winner of the 425 Business of the Year again. Advanced Hair begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions, those monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but if you're like me, you want more. You wanted your own natural hair in specific areas permanently. From Advanced Hair's groundbreaking technology to world-class Dr. Perungo, it's not maybe your hair will grow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off, 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
The team at Mazda of Everett is always working hard to make your experience with their team exceptional. Mazda of Everett has over 700 new Mazdas in stock, tariff-free. It's the perfect time to buy a new Mazda. Visit our friends at Mazda of Everett on Highway 99 in Everett or shop online at MazdaofEverett.com. Click the Mazda of Everett price where pre-tariff pricing still applies. Shop their tariff-free selection at Mazda of Everett.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See for full details and disclaimer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838